This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This.
So here's the putting green. See? There you go. Got two flags. One was over there where. So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, cuttersedgepro.com does some amazing stuff, and there are the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that. The two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that. I gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them. They like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do. They play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden. She's the girl right here. She's a badass. That's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. cuttersedgepro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. It'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue to cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go. So you're getting some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items. Same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Ass fan alert.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Alrighty. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome aboard. Yes, sir. We are broadcasting live from the beautiful dealership that is Acura of Pembroke Pines. Yes, sir. Next year, I will have my electric Acura. That's for sure. Next year, we'll be ready. We'll be ready. I think we'll move on from our Camry that we got at Toyota of Hollywood here, part of the Zinn family, of course. And then I think I'm going to get my my electric Acura, which I've been. I almost got an electric car the last time. This time around, I am definitely going to get one in 2024. Sometime in late 2024, I will definitely get my electric car. Guaranteed. I'm going to get it. I'm going to definitely get it. Looking forward to that. So we are out here. So if you happen to, in this gloomy day, man, wow, it is a gloomy day. I didn't check the weather. I didn't know it was going to be. Is it supposed to be like really bad today? All day? All right. So, listen, if you happen to be around 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines, come on out here and say hi, man. Would love to meet you all out there. So if you happen to be working or living in the area and you say, hey, man, I'm not doing anything. It's, and we got a large selection of vehicles. I mean, it is overflowing. Even during the pandemic, I got to give Craig Zinn a ton of credit because Larry Schlossberg and company, man, they kept this thing pretty stocked up. I know it wasn't like where it's at now or, even pre-pandemic, but during the pandemic, they had a really good selection. like they always do. And now they have, it's like when you go to Toyota of Hollywood, the same thing. It's the selection is sick because it's just an enormous building. So come on out here, man. Large selection of new and certified pre-owned vehicles. If you're looking for one, we've got them for you out here at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Yes, sir. All right. Matt Verderam, by the way, will join us at 11, and Safed Dean will stop by at 11:30. So hour number 2, we'll have a bunch of stuff, and I got a ton of stuff to talk about after Hardknocks and everything last night. What you got, Sean?
No, I was going to tell you it's going to be showers starting at 11 o'clock, and we'll run all the way through till 5:30 this afternoon.
Wow. Okay.
That's your weather forecast.
Okay.
Back to your desk.
Nice job by you. You sure you don't want to bring your truck in here? Sure you don't want to bring your truck on the roof already?
There's a lot of rain. There's a lot of rain out here, it's boring.
The wind is picked up.
That was a fan.
Why don't we get you to stand by a puddle and talk about how it's flooded all over the place? Oh, man, that is too much. Anyway, a lot of things to talk about today on the show. As always, we've always got a bunch of things most of the time to talk about. Crypto market has opened up, and it's had like a little bit of a dip, which is nice, actually, especially for you newbies. It allows you to kind of get back in and get a lower price there at the same time. Because somebody was asking me about, and I could tell that they were kind of new to this whole thing, but Bitcoin dipped to 41,000, and it was at 44. And one of the things that I just want to kind of, before I get into sports, give you a little crypto corner here, and kind of walk you through some of this stuff here. This is all super healthy. You can't have complete parabolic runs. You wanna have your run, and you want to consolidate a little bit. You want to find a floor. You want to sit there for a little bit and then keep moving up, which is, I think, what's going to end up happening now after you've settled in for a couple days. What I want you to remember is the big picture. Remember, I always talk macro, not micro, right? Who gives a shit when Bitcoin's at 141,000, whether you bought it at 39 or at 44? Okay? To be quite honest, doesn't really matter at that point. Okay? If you bought it at 16 or at 20, well, then that's a little bit of a difference. But if you got in now, recently, don't panic. This thing's just going to go parabolic, and it's going to go crazy. And mark my words, next month, when the ETFs are approved on January 10th, BlackRock and the SEC and ARK Investments, they're working closely with the SEC to make sure everything is approved. Let's put it this way. As strong as the SEC is, they don't want to piss off BlackRock. Okay? Let's just put it that way. So they'll get this thing done, and all the tricks and everything that Gary Gensler has pulled will not work. Okay? And by the way, for those of you out there, because you DM'd me all that stuff about Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is about the most useless piece of crap that there is in the government. Okay? She's like put together like 300 bills. She's never passed one. Okay? She's as useless as it gets. She's just a mouthpiece. And so I know she put together some crypto bill or something. Nobody will pay attention to that old hag. Okay? She's just a mouth, and all that comes out of it is turds. That's it. She's as useless as it gets, pretty much. Okay? So don't worry about it. And nobody cares about anything that Elizabeth Warren has to say, to be quite honest. Nobody even really takes her serious. The only idiot that takes her serious is our moron president that actually, put her there. But outside of that, don't worry about anything that she comes up with, because it will have no legs whatsoever. She's got no juice in the government. She just blah, 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 blah. That's why, you know, she's gotten somewhere, because she opens her mouth and she's really loud, and all that does is hot air. So the consolidation by Bitcoin here the last couple of days is fantastic. The consolidation for a lot of the altcoins, it's great, because that way they find their floor, and then they continue on their parabolic run up, which is what is happening. And this is only the beginning for a lot. By the way, certain coins that we have talked about, certain companies, Cardano, starting again a bounce back this morning at 6.5%. They're approaching 62 cents now. We've been telling you about Cardano for a while now, and this thing was down at 24 cents in the middle of October, and now it's 61. So if you got it at 24, those of us that bought it at 24 and 27 and at 61, you've already doubled that investment as it is. Okay, it's at 61 and 62 almost, and climbing. And this is the highest point it's been in actually in the last 6 months. Okay, actually, this is the highest point Cardano's been in the last year. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so you're watching that. Another one that we've talked about is Hedera Hashgraph, HBAR. HBAR is now up 8% this morning. It is approaching 8 cents. Okay, and this is the highest point it's been in over 6 months. A year ago, well, let's say February of 23, it was at 7.6 cents. So it's even higher than it was in February. Right now, it's 7.8. Okay, and it is climbing. It's up 8.1%. I think it'll go over 8 cents today and start pushing into that area. So that's actually really, really good. You know, Avalanche was at $42 and it went down to 37. It's up 3.6% today, up to 39. So it's looking like it's coming back there. It's another one that we've talked about. That's part of our portfolio. Bitcoin is up 1% now. So it's up to 41,738. So it's now making its bounce back. And do not get flustered with any of this. Okay? What's coming is an avalanche of profits. So you have to stay strong. That's why I stayed strong when Cardano was at 24 cents. And now it's 61. And it's going to go soaring. And that's why I kept staying strong when Ethereum was down to $900 and $1,000 and $1,200. And it's at $2,200 now. You know, you have to stay strong with this and look at it in a long-term basis. The rich people, you know, you and I that are working stiffs, that we're only putting a couple dollars here or there, we have to wait long-term. And so you have to make the right investments that are long-term growth, not the short-term stuff, not the meme coin stuff and all. Rich people get to play with money differently, man. You know, I wish I had money, because then I can make some real money. You know, because all my investments pretty much in crypto are all in the green. Every one of them actually is in the green. I have not failed with any of my, well, VeChain is not. VeChain is one that's still a slow grower and not in the green at all yet. But every other coin, which is, 20 something coins that I'm in, that's a pretty good ratio. They're all in the green, and we haven't even started in the bull market yet, So I wish I had real big money, like some of you out there. That would be a lot of fun, man. I would be filthy rich, actually. I'd be doing this show from some tropical island somewhere with the sea behind me, and you'd be asking, "Hey, are you going to go to any place to do a live show?" I'd say, "No. We'll do all the shows right from here on out." So you're all lucky that I don't have money if you really care about this show anywhere, at least live here, somewhere in South Florida. Because if not, I'd be in some tropical island somewhere. But anyway, stay strong, okay? Because it's going to continue to bounce back, and it's going to blow the doors off everything out there because this is the future. This is how business is going. Everything is going to be done on the blockchain. Everything. You're going to be paying your bills on the blockchain. Everything. What you did on the internet eventually will all be on the blockchain. Every single bit of it. And that's what people don't seem to understand. But it's coming. It is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Just got to learn. That's all. Let's do a little roll call, why don't we? True Fin fan, number 1. If farting is wrong, I don't want to be right. Jamie Zoria in San Jose, hoping everybody has a great week. He's feeling better about our fins. Remember to smash the like button, people. Fins up, he says. Steve Chapman is in. Time to forget about Monday's disaster and turn our attention to throttling those stinking Jets. Yes. And I got some stuff to talk about with that. NorCal reminds all to wake and bake some blueberry fritter. First, take care of head. Fins for life. There you go. Duck Dog is in. Sneak attack. Got to right some wrongs on Sunday, he says. One-Eyed Jack is in. Ryan AP. Reynaldo Mesa. The Dolphins in a meltdown like last year. Is the defense regressing or what? The defense was awesome until the last 2 drives. That's where Fangio screwed up. So it was more situationally where the defense messed up, not really overall. They did enough to win. They scored points and everything on defense, dude. The defense got 2 turnovers, gave the offense 2 short fields for 2 touchdowns, and the defense scored a touchdown. The defense was fantastic until the last couple of drives where Fangio chose not to pressure the quarterback. That's it, dude. Levis. You know what I mean? If you're making it sound like the entire defense played last week terrible the entire game, you don't know what you're watching, dude. Okay? It was the final 2 drives where it was more of a situational thing where he screwed up. Don't make it sound like it was a terrible defensive performance. If it wasn't for the defense, there was no chance to be in that game, sir. Dolphins need to get on track or they're going to collapse like what happened last year. Yes, sir. We all know that. Let's see. Steven says, I bleed aqua and orange. I know they will turn it around. It's just one game, and that's the way I'm looking at it. I get it that panic and negativity always wins, and the media loves to feed you with that, but it's one loss. I had a listener asking me, hey, be honest with me, which it's like, I always love that part when you start with the question, be honest. So what am I, bullshitting you every time I'm on the air? Every time I'm on here, I'm just telling you what I really don't feel? Does it ever come across like I tell you what I really don't feel on this show? Ever? Is it ever like that? Okay. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure that I come across with some conviction. Okay. I want to make sure. Be honest with me. Anyway. So I was asked, should we be worried? No. Why should you be worried? You've only lost 4 games out of 13. Who the hell are you people, man? You think your team's supposed to win like 17 games every year? So let's make it something when it's actually something. You know? Let's wait. If they lose to the Jets this week, now we got ourselves something. Now we've got a problem. But if you go and beat the Jets and then you beat their next team, then you forget about what happened. It's a bump in the road. Nobody's perfect. Do you have a great day at work every day? I doubt that, right? There's got to be some days that you're a little off kilter and you didn't have your best and you missed out on something. I know I do it all the time, that I sit there and then I drive home and I'm like, damn, I forgot to talk about this. I should have said this. I didn't approach this the right way. We all do this. So to make it sound like the Dolphins are above, imperfections. So let's wait to call it a choke job or cave in until they actually start caving in and start choking and start losing a bunch of games like they did last year. Then we can do that. What was it, 4 or 5 they dropped, I believe? 5 in a row and lost. So there you go. Let's do that. But if they beat the Jets, then, that eases what happened in Tennessee. And then if you win your next game, which I believe is the Baltimore game, right? Is it the Baltimore game after the Jets game? Dallas. Oh, Dallas, then Baltimore. Right. So if you beat Dallas, then you'll completely forget about this game. And you'll just say, well, you got to lose some. You're not going to win them all. I understand that we happen to be in the one city where the team won every single game that year. I get all of that. But again, that happened 50 years ago. There's a reason why it never happens. You know what I'm saying? So let's relax. Let's not overreact. It was a shitty week. It was a terrible performance overall by the Dolphins. I get it. It's painful. It sucks. You lost the opportunity to stay there at number 1 with the Ravens. I understand every bit of that. I feel it just like you do. But I'm not going to make it more than what it is. It's one bad loss. That's all. And if this week they go out and take care of business, then I'm not worried about the loss. And then let's see what you can do against Dallas. And then we can move on and have some fun and enjoy the rest of the run, or be miserable. But I am not going to. It's too easy to just give up and be negative. It's just like a lot of people in investments. One little bad thing happens and they get flustered right away and they sell. And they'd rather take the loss because they don't have the guts to actually stay with it. And they don't have conviction because they didn't do their homework. Okay? And those are the people that FOMO in. And I guess some of you are FOMOing in your negative emotions already and not being objective about all of this and saying, hey, man, listen, all of that, everything that happened on Sunday easily could be corrected. It's up to the coaches, but it could be corrected. Yes, sir.
No, I was laughing a little bit because this morning, or maybe yesterday, it actually happened. Nick Sirianni with the Eagles. They're 11-3. He was questioned about changing the offensive coordinator. And he looked right at the reporter and was like, you do know we're 11-3.
Right.
We had a bad game, but it's just funny because when you look at the fan bases, it's like you said, fanatical. Fans are fanatical, spoiled. But it's like
spoiled. You're 11-3. Shut the hell up, you moron. How are you questioning a guy that's 11-3? I agree with Nick Sirianni. It's just I don't think that a lot of our fan base, I'm talking about overall in the NFL, is necessarily intelligent. I think or educated. I think they're just fanatical, a large portion of them, and they don't really think about what's really going on in the big picture, and then they get spoiled. And including some of you Dolphin fans, you act like you've been there and done it when you haven't been there and done shit. You haven't accomplished anything, dude. This is a franchise that needs to learn how to do all of this, including Mike McDaniel, which we'll get into that. And it just happens way too much. And by the way, it also happens with our media. I just watch and listen and read, and there's just too much headline chasing with the media. It's let's find the most sensationalistic headline. Let's think about the most sensationalistic story, because that's the only way we can actually do this job. Just can't do it by, just brutal honesty. Just Just write or say what's actually going on instead of trying to make it more dramatic than what it really is. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, you got to put the mic on because then they don't hear you.
Well, no, I was going to say it won't get enough clicks to keep them in their positions.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what it's all about. That's exactly what it's all about. So, anyway, Ray Sosa, Jorge Jimenez. Dolphins need to get on track. They're going to collapse. Steven Gonzalez. True Fin fan. One-Eyed Jack. Timothy Eason. Gus 1388. Richie V. Thank you, Big O and Sean, for the hard work and dedication you give us every day. Thank you, Richie V, for appreciating it. Let's see. Horn Dog, good morning. I'm still pissed about the Titans loss. You should be. CM Punk is your daddy. Says I'm finally back. Happy Wednesday from Frankie Fresco. Nizzle is checking in. Alexis Palenzuela. Dan B. Do you think we need to get a center if available? What center's available, Dan B? And I am one that believes Liam Eichenberg will turn out to do a good job for you from here on out. Because now he will practice and play and think and act like a center the entire time. And let me tell you something about this. Because negativity sells. Let me do a
Preach, Joe, preach.
Let me do a Justin Herbert.
Negative, baby, negative.
This is how he does it. Let me tell you something. You know, that's his move.
That's why he's on IR. That finger's the broken one.
Yeah, that's it. That's why his fingers break all the time on both hands. Because he's always like, he's trying to look cool. He does that all the time. Notice it. You know? Anyway, so let me tell you something. Because negativity sells. And you see how that guy right there was programmed. Oh, should we go get a center? We're in week 13 of the NFL season. There's no centers to get anymore. Okay? All right? Dwight Stevenson isn't sitting out there. Well, he actually is, but he's a little too old right now to play. But what I'm saying is, there isn't like anything like really good out there probably available for you, okay? You know, it's just not going to happen. The best you have right now is Liam Eichenberg. And I know you're, oh my God, don't say that, oh. Well, let's just say that he has gotten better as a player, right? And you get thrown in at center when you're not practicing it, when you're not preparing for it. And then they've got you at guard at that moment, and they've moved the man around, and all of a sudden you get thrown into the fire in the middle of a game. It's a really difficult situation. And that happened to him the last time, and it was the Bills game, right? I think so. And then he got better as he continued to play. Or was it Philly? It was the Bills, right? It was the Bills. It was a 28-point loss, right? And so and he got better after he continued to play. I think that's going to be the case now. I think Liam Eichenberg is going to get better. How much better? I don't know. We're going to find that out. But I'll tell you this. And here's the light at the end of the tunnel, and something that might be just positive right now, finally, for Liam Eichenberg. Okay? Let me give you something that Liam Eichenberg has not had yet. A starting job. Every time he's been, hey, we need you to fill in here. All right, we need you to fill in here. We need you to fill in here. Now it's, we need you to start here for the rest of the season and the playoffs. So Liam Eichenberg now has a chance to truly establish himself and prove that he can be a legitimate NFL offensive lineman. And one of the things that you got to love about him, just like you got to love about Kendall Lamb,
Robert Jones, Austin Jackson, even Isaiah Wynn. These are all players that have faced adversity of starting or not starting or whatever, or being told you're not good enough, and they've found a way to overcome all of that. So why can't Liam Eichenberg find a way to overcome this? And he finally gets the peace of mind that he has not had since he got drafted, when they first thought that he would be a starter at tackle, right? That was kind of the plan. Now that's gone. So here comes the opportunity of a lifetime. And for Liam Eichenberg, let me tell you something. If he can go out there and start to play and play well at center, he becomes a target that you can sign next offseason, and you can actually get Connor cheap, because he's going to have a knee injury. And so he won't be available to you next year. So it becomes kind of, till late till next year. You can keep him on the IR and wait till he's actually available. And then all of a sudden, you might have been able to develop Liam Eichenberg at center. It could happen. Kendall Lamb bounced around the league for like 7 years and then found the right system and scheme and found a home, and the guy can play. Isaiah Wynn struggled in New England, and he found a way here. Now, unfortunately, we can't say completely because he hasn't been able to play a full season yet. At least with Kendall Lamb, we're seeing much more of him. You know what I'm saying? But still, he was kind of turning the corner here where he never turned the corner in New England. That's where, again, it's so easy to be negative. It's so easy to give up on somebody. But after watching the track record of this offensive line coaching staff, why would you give up on the opportunity of Liam Eichenberg actually becoming a good player? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. If they keep putting him out there, there's a reason why they keep doing that. And for Liam Eichenberg, this is a chance of a lifetime. It really is. I hope he takes advantage of it. BaptistHealth.net/ortho, proud sponsor of our show, folks. And if you have an injury that's keeping you from doing what you love, take charge of your health and get back in the game with the help of the all-pro staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Use that QR code you're seeing right there. And if you're listening on the podcast, BaptistHealth.net/ortho, please call them. They've got hospitals all throughout the South Florida area, from the Keys all the way to Boca, and even a brand new facility there at Hardknocks Stadium that, yes, you can use that facility if you happen to live in that area. It's not just for the players if they need it, but everybody else can use it in that neighborhood too. So check it out, BaptistHealth.net/ortho. Big O, from the time I was a Dolphin, every or almost every year, there is a colossal collapse. Hope the same shit doesn't happen this year. We all are. Big Earl is in the house. GP Trap, Brian Landis, Crypto Fins, Dan B. Let's see. Joseph, Karoon. Blockchain would be a great nickname for a great offensive line, actually. Yes. And eventually there'll be, once it becomes more, what's that called? Common. And people will know what the blockchain is, and they use it, and it's something that's part of our daily lives. It'll definitely happen. Right now, it won't happen, only because, so few people understand what crypto is, and they don't realize that it's a digital stock market, basically. And they don't. Some people think crypto is like games, and then when you tell them coins, they don't understand that it's kind of like a stock. It's the same thing as a stock. It's just a digital version of it. So it's so new to people that we cannot have the Miami blockchain yet,
because they just won't understand it. But it's a great call on your part. But it's coming. It's coming. Diego Souza is in Denver. Edward Thurston Howe. Big O, someone advised me to buy Jito coin, but it's been going down in price. I don't know anything about Jito coin, so I can't tell you anything about it. Here's what I would tell you, Edward Thurston Howe. They told you. So what? Did you do your own homework? Did you look up Jito coin? Who owns it? What are their partnerships? How much money do they have? What's the circulation in coins? What's the market cap? Do you know who's backing them? What kind of money do they have? You know, you can find out about all these things. So find out about them before you invest in anything. I have a friend of mine, because some of you aren't really investors. Just because you bought a coin or two or five and you heard somebody say it, that doesn't make you an investor. I don't know if you know that. That makes you a FOMO artist, is what you're doing. Oh, it's going up. Everybody's buying. Let me do the same thing. It's not because you actually did your homework and you understood what the company does for a living and why it's productive and why it will be a bigger part of society. And, you know, I have friends that put money into crypto, but they didn't invest. They're just trying to make a quick buck. So they're riding a wave that they see others riding. They're not really investing. They're FOMOing. And that's what we have. We have a term in this that it's called FOMOing. And FOMOing are just people that they see Bitcoin going up now and they say, well, I guess I better get in on it now. It's at 45,000. You know, at 16, they weren't going to do that because they did not do their homework. So those of you, you know, you're most of you are probably FOMOing. You're not actually investing. And that's what you're doing right there, Edward. You're FOMOing. You know nothing about it. It's just what somebody told you, and you're going to put money into something that just somebody told you. And they didn't explain to you what it is. I think, you know, that's one thing I do on my show here, right? I think I tell you about a coin, and then I tell you why I like it and what they're doing, right? I like H-bar. I tell you the feds are going to use H-bar, right? Avalanche, they got a deal with Amazon and it hasn't even kicked in yet. Avalanche is exploding right now because they've got several gaming companies that are exploding on the blockchain. So Avalanche is also exploding. But I explain those things to you. Why I like the Cosmos company. Why? Because of the ecosystem and everything that they have in it, like Injective Protocol, which is another one that we told you. We give you facts. We give you reasons why we like this company. You just cannot do that, Edward. You can't just, oh, hey, buy this. And then you're just FOMOing. You're not actually doing your homework and finding out about the company. You should do that before you put your money into it. Now, if you are Edward Thurston Howe, well, you're rich anyway. So, you know, and money isn't as important to you as it is to me because I'm a working stiff and I only got a couple of bucks. So if I'm going to put $5 here or $10 there or $20 there, it's going to mean something to me. You know what I'm saying? I can't throw thousands around like you, Mr. Howell. Ray Sosa is in. Yeah, I'm going to get into the hard knocks. I got to get into that and talk about that. Drago, Jay Gelfin, Robert Panullo, Danielle Berry. Ray says defense was holding the Titans to 13 up until the fourth quarter, but they definitely collapsed those. No, the last two drives, unacceptable. That's where Fangio screwed up in the last two drives. Yes, sir.
Did you see that AVG came out and addressed who the actual the login? Remember, I forgot what it was.
Oh yeah. The huge whatever. Yeah. Schlong or whatever.
Yeah, it was Munson. The guy they just signed. It was his account.
Oh.
Because he said the real, whatever the name was, is back in Miami when they signed him. So it was Munson's.
That's funny.
But like you said, AVG isn't paying for it, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You can tell. Right. It's very Kirk Cousinish. You can tell they're smart people. They're not throwing their money away. JS says, I drank so much after the Titans game that I just woke up. Lisa, still smarting from Monday's loss, but moving on to the Jets. Time to refocus. Just so tired of all the Tua bashing. I left several so-called Dolphin groups. Too much negativity. Well, they love negativity. They love that. Guess to be honest, didn't have enough fire to be confident in the team. Kyle Cockrell, Pat in Asheville. Oh, rocking the punk rock museum hat. That's right. That bathroom was very punk rock, except that it was way too clean. That's right. It was. You guys should check out my pictures of the punk rock museum on our Twitter page at Big O Show. I got to put it up on Instagram. I didn't put it on Instagram. I should. The party's over, Bubba. Says, beat Dallas and Baltimore, then the Titans game is a wash. Exactly, sir. Exactly. Mandarino says it's year 2 and we're legitimately talking Super Bowls for the first time in decades. Mike is 40 and his second year. I'm all in with him and Tua. I'm with you too, but Mike he's got some growing up to do, and we'll talk about that. Be honest with me. Don't think the Dolphins have the fire to beat the Jets, says True Fin fan. Oh boy, what happens now, guys? Who was honest to fire up Orlando? Nizzle, thank you for the love on the super chat, sir. 9 for 13, 69%. What's that? Oh, okay. Oh, it's 69%. 9 and 4. Okay, yeah, it's a good percentage. It's a very good. 69% is a very good percent. Yep. You guys know what the speed limit for sex is? $68. At 69, you eat it. Let's see. Horn Dog says, our bad losses always come when all Sundays and Monday nights eyes are on us. Yeah, no, the primetime stuff has been bad. And it's good to see Mike McDaniel be put to the test. Okay? Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo, and you can make a Bitcoin donation there. Cash App or Venmo. Appreciate it. Thank you all out there. As always, Steve M says, let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's if you're right and Tua isn't the guy to take over games, then he's a game manager. He essentially Tannehill with better accuracy, more deep throws, and a better personality. But once the game doesn't go according to plan, he's useless. I never said that. That was from yesterday from Steve. Never said that at all. What I said was there's only 2 guys in the league that you can just say, here's the ball, go sling it 50 times a game, and it's probably Mahomes and Burrow. That's about it. Everybody else, you need to run an offense the way you're supposed to run it, man. You gotta have good coaching. You know, that's what you gotta do. Because if not, Josh Allen, you can't even do that with him. Why? Because he'll turn over the ball. Guaranteed. That's what he does. And you've got to have some balance with him. Because if you just allow him to just go and sling it all the time, he's going to turn it over. So what I said yesterday, because, of course, Steve, you are a Tua hater. So just like most Tua haters, you know, most of you really don't understand the game, don't understand the position of quarterback. That's why most of you are uneducated and you're Tua haters, to be quite honest, media or fans. Okay, let's just call it like we see it. You guys really don't understand the quarterback position at all. You live in some fantasy, and that's the problem. Like listening to Cam Newton talk about quarterbacks, which is king-size stupidity to listen to that moron talk about quarterbacks. And we'll get to that one too. That's a special kind of moron there, Cam Newton. But anyway, bottom line is it's all on Mike McDaniel. Steve Young was a hell of a quarterback at BYU. Was a hell of a quarterback for the LA Express. But then when you put him with the Tampa Bay Bucks, and Steve, he didn't look so good. He looked a little awkward. I wonder why. Maybe it was because there was bad coaching. And bad coaching can make anyone look bad, especially your quarterback. Your quarterback can only overcome so much. There's a scene in Did you watch Hard Knocks? So there's a scene in Hard Knocks last night. Sorry for the spoilers here, but there's a scene where McDaniel goes to Tua, hang in, and I know you finally said, and he finally called a good play, and that's what's been going on. And when you don't call good plays and you don't know how to set up your players, you can set them up for failure is what you can do. And basically, that's what Mike McDaniel did against the Tennessee Titans. He set his team up for failure. The Patriots earlier in the year gave you that shell look, and what'd you do? You ran the ball on them for 200 yards. These guys did the same thing, and you didn't answer the same way, even though you were averaging 6.7 yards per carry in the first half, 5.1 yards overall for the game. Again, Dolphin fans, I want you to know that your running game by the end of the game was averaging 5.1 yards per carry. I want to remind you because I want you to think of the last 30 years. How many times that happens? Okay? Very few. Very few times. And so when your coach does stupid things, this is what ends up happening. And he's a really smart guy, but he likes to outsmart himself. And sometimes you don't have to outsmart yourself. You just got to out-execute someone else, even if they know it's coming. Because we knew Thurman Thomas was coming, and you still couldn't stop it. Right? For many years now, it hasn't been the same lately, but when Derrick Henry's coming, you're pretty much not going to stop it. Right? It's kind of the way it goes. It's things that you have to deal with in sports at times. Certain players, certain teams that can dominate. You play San Francisco, you're in for a physical matchup, whether you like it or not. So Mike McDaniel's got to figure out a way to do a better job of, it's not a Tua thing. It's a team thing. Okay? There's a scene in Hard Knocks, and this is a scene in Hard Knocks that was disappointing. Very disappointing. And because it when you hear the coach say what he said, it was like, wow, my brother, this is what we're all saying. With, those of us with a brain. And we know you have one. We know you're very smart. And what is it about you that you can't see that? Yet you're going to admit it? And so this is what happens. So they're showing towards the end of the Tennessee game, right? First fumble, they score a touchdown right away, right? Running the ball in late in the game, right? So the second one, they get the second one, and McDaniel, to his credit, sticks to the run. They score again, right? He walks over to Mostert and to Ingold, who are sitting next to each other, okay? Ingold got a really nice block on that second touchdown. On the first touchdown, he kind of like was kind of like semi-whiffing on some of them, and he was apologizing and all that. It's kind of cool because Ingold is such a great human being, dude. You know what I'm saying? He's just such a likable dude, because he's a really good human being. You see it there, The Lord gave us a good one there in Alec Ingold. He's a good dude. And let me tell you something. So McDaniel walks over to Mostert and to Ingold to congratulate him, says, after that first go-around, I knew I had to come back to you guys. I swear to God, I almost punched the shit out of the TV. I almost put my fist right through the TV when he said that. It's like, my brother, what happened to Green Bay last year? What happened to the Bills last year? What happened to Monday night? What happens all the damn time when you're abandoning what works, the running game? How catastrophically stupid are you? And you're going to sit there and you're going to lie to Mostert and Ingold that I should have gone. I had to come back to you guys. Why haven't you been going to them from the get-go? I don't understand it. There's no reason to pass if you're averaging 5 to 6, 7 yards a carry. None. Pass less. Run more. Give them less opportunities. Keep your defense fresh. Help your quarterback by making the linebackers come in and opening up the middle of the field that you love to use. I mean, it's elementary, my dear Watson, as you would say. I mean, this is just kiddie logic. And sure enough, this week, he'll go back to the bad habits, and you'll be inside the 5, and it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, and here he goes getting cute with some stupid-ass screen or bubble screen or something instead of just handing off the ball to somebody that gets 5 or 6 yards a carry. Oh, and by the way, your young offensive line that has 4 backups does a much better job of run blocking than pass blocking. But no, let's continue to pass block because that's what actually makes sense for this team. I saw that yesterday and I was like, wow. The goal. The intestinal fortitude. The gumption. The chutzpah. To say that. Oh, when I saw that, I knew I had to go back to you guys. Now that's when you figured it out? Like the light went on now at the end of the game? After almost 2 years? Don't understand that one. That was just... That was not good. I was pissed watching that comment. Yes, sir.
You may want to watch the game on mute this Sunday.
Oh,
the announced team is Jim Nantz and Tony Romo.
Oh, God.
And that's not for Nantz, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know. No, Nantz is fine. Nothing wrong with Nantz. Nantz calls the game and does a good job. Joseph Blassetti, thank you for the love and the super chat, sir. Very nice of you supporting our show, our platform. Fins fans, win or lose, I always ride with my Fins. I'm with you, baby. Always. True Fin fan, thank you as always. A little love on the super chat. Tua has to play like Marino every game. Yeah. It's crazy, dude. Watch Hard Knocks and relive Monday night again. LOL. Yeah, I know. That's basically what it is. Ingold is really good. Unsung hero, says NorCal. Yeah. They were playing with a nickel shell, pressure with 4, or take Tua off his first read. They gave us the run to limit the passing game. And you know what you do, Tom? Run, bro. Run. Terrible coaching. Terrible coaching. And it's just, it's frustrating. It really is. It's frustrating. You know, this guy's so good. I'm talking about McDaniel. So good, man. He's got to be better situationally, man. He's got to be better than that. He sucks situationally. I mean, you keep doing fade patterns to a short receiver. You used Cedric like once. Didn't use him much. You can't figure out a way to put Chase Claypool in there for a fade pattern. Come on, man. Yeah. Not good. Not good. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm really close to thinking Mike McDaniel's not a good head coach. Tell me why I should feel stupid for this statement. It's still too early to say that. It's still his second season. You got to give him a little more time to see if he can figure it out. If this continues, I could be joining you, but I got to figure that he's got to figure this out and get it right. Jermaine says exactly. Run the ball and keep the defense off the field. And keep their defense on the field. I'm blocking all things Dolphins till Sunday. If Dolphins had their starting O-line plus Jay Holland in there Monday, there would be 10-3. Yeah, that Cole Spruce. If they actually had a head coach that managed the game right, they would be 10-3, my friend. That's how you're supposed to say it. When you say if they had their O-line and Jay Holland, that's loser talk. Okay? That's loser talk. You easily could have won this game with the guys you had. You had bad coaching, so you lost this game. And it's really important to win these kind of games and overcome the adversity when you are missing these guys. Put it this way, Cole, I don't know if you are a hometown guy like I am, but if you're a Heat fan, do you ever think that would Spo? No. Spo could be missing half his team, and you'll still watch because you know Spo can beat anybody with half a team. Anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. You're in for a shitstorm when you play the Miami Heat, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. And you're going to have to fight, scratch, and claw for every victory, and it doesn't matter who's on the court, bro. He can get 5 of you out there on the court, and you'll always feel like, damn, that's a well-coached team. So, Cole Spruce, I couldn't disagree with you more, dude. Sunday had nothing to do with what you were missing. What you were missing was a head coach with an IQ on the sidelines. That's what you were missing. You were missing a coach that actually didn't know what the hell to do in order to win a game. You are talking about a guy that can never pretty much win a challenge. Didn't he lose a challenge in that game? Yeah, the Titans game. Yeah, he lost another challenge, right? Yeah. Okay. That's what we're talking about, Cole Spruce. We're talking about a guy that can't figure out that his running game is the most consistent weapon he has. A guy that can't figure out how to challenge a play. You didn't win because you were missing players. You didn't win because you were missing a head coach. Anyway.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, ask me whatever you want.
It's been bothering me, and I don't know if you're going to cover this or not that, or if it's even something, but when Tyreek goes out, the offense falters.
He sucks as a head coach.
But my question is this.
He's not Eric Spoelstra.
When you watch Spo, why doesn't he, like,
Don Shula.
Well, not only that, but when Spo has a guy, sorry. So when Spo has a guy go out, right? We always talk to Anthony and Ira and everything else. He's like, well, I don't think he's going to move him up because then he hurts the second. He hurts the second team coming in.
Right.
So he keeps guys there. So my question is, Tyreek goes out. They move Waddle to Tyreek's position. They move somebody else to Waddle. Why don't they have somebody, Cedric Wilson or whatever? And I get it. It's not Tyreek. But if you keep everybody else the same, there's so many miscommunications when Tyreek goes out.
That's coaching.
It's like nobody knows where the hell they're going.
Can't get a play in on time. That's coaching.
Waddle runs the wrong plays. Cedric Wilson's run wrong plays. You've had so many, like,
you can't coach without Tyreek.
Just doesn't make sense to me.
That's coaching.
Just does not make sense how you cannot just say.
You can't be Tyreek dependent, bro.
No,
you cannot be Tyreek dependent. That you're a terrible coach if you're Tyreek. That means you can only coach with Tyreek? Are you kidding me? I watch Eric Spoelstra beat the Warriors at their peak with scrubs. Scrubs. The dregs of the NBA. He brought guys from the G League and went and smoked Steve Kerr. I'm watching Shula with scab players, and they were the least penalized team in the NFL. I think he went like 3-2 or 4-1 with the scabs. Coaches have to show me things, dude. That's part of coaching. You don't always coach with your best, but you've got to coach your best. Right? You may not have Dan Marino, but you've got Doug Peterson. You're still going to win your 325th game. See, the bad part about Mike McDaniel, Brian Flores, Adam Gase, Cam Cameron, Nick Saban, Dave Wannstedt, Jimmy Johnson. The bad part for all these coaches is that we had Shula. Not you youngins, because you don't know. But those of us that, we know what a real football coach is. We know a guy that knows how to win with Woodstock. We know a guy that knows how to get Woodstock and go to the Super Bowl. Okay? Any other coach, you give them Woodstock, and they don't even get to the playoffs. They don't even get to 500. They don't even win 6 games. Don Shula gets to the Super Bowl. It's just different. And that's part of coaching. You're not always going to have your best on the court, on the ice, on the field, whatever it is. But you've got to show me your best. And that's what I get from from Eric Spoelstra every single night. I have never, ever, 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 ever in my life ever said, well, Spo's not a very good coach. He couldn't do this, couldn't that. He could have gotten more out of here and that. Never have to say that. No matter what talent's out there. What we all say? Holy shit, how does this guy get this much out of this? How do you make this guy that? Shula, how do you make this guy that? How do you do that? How do you convert that guy? How do you do that? These are the things. I love that I can actually comfortably put Spo in the same sentence with Shula. I freaking love that, dude. And I'm not insulting Shula, and I'm complimenting the shit out of Spo. And I mean it. I mean it like I mean it, bro. I mean, I've never seen coaches like Shula and Spo. Not in this town. Larinaga's the other guy, by the way. I'm sorry, Jim. Apologies. Larinaga's the other guy that does the same shit. Freaking amazing. Doesn't matter what you give him. It's going to be better than what you ever thought it would be. It's like watching... I think it's Moonraker, right? Or is it? No, it's A View to a Kill. It's like watching A View to a Kill, and Roger Moore is at is it Barbara Bach's house or whatever? No, it's not Barbara Bach. What's the name of the mother in that 70s show? Her. Anyway, the hot mother I'm talking about, like Donna's mother. Donna was a smoke show too, but her mom, Tanya Roberts. I got it. Tanya Roberts. It's like watching, thank you, Tanya Roberts. It's like watching Robert Moore at Tanya Roberts' house, which is just empty, and there's only a couple things left in the refrigerator, and that's Eric Spoelstra and Don Shula. And she's like, I don't have any. I got a couple things. And 2 minutes later, it's a beautiful souffle that Roger Moore makes out of nothing. And that's exactly what Don Shula and Eric Spoelstra can do. They can make souffles out of anything. Mike McDaniel, he needs expensive clothes in order to look good. You got that? You got that analogy? Mike McDaniel needs expensive clothes in order to look good. Now, Eric Spoelstra can probably make a pair of Dickies and Levi's look fantastic. There you go. So we are waiting for Mike McDaniel to graduate as a real coach. He's a schemer, but he's not a coach. Not yet. He's not a real head coach yet. You know how I always tell you Ryan Tannehill and Lamar Jackson, those aren't real quarterbacks, right? They're athletes trying to play the quarterback position, but they really aren't quarterbacks. Well, Mike McDaniel, we have now figured out he's a play designer. He's not a head coach yet. I'll tell you when he graduates and actually is a head coach. I will be there to hand him the diploma and the degree. I will determine when Mike McDaniel is actually a real head coach. Okay? Because I know what real head coaches look like. I just talked about them. Jim Larinaga, Eric Spoelstra, Don Shula. These are real head coaches. These are people that can make souffles out of absolutely anything. You know, any moron can win only with Alonzo Mourning. Any moron can only win with Tyreek Hill. Any moron can only win with Dan Marino. Okay? But show me when Michael Jordan comes to town and Rex Chapman hits 39 on your head and you win because you had 8 guys there. Show me coaching. I've seen coaching. I've watched it all my life here. I got half a century of experience watching coaching in this town and watching Ron Frazier and watching Eric Spoelstra and watching Pat Riley and watching Don Shula and watching Jim Larinaga. Okay? Mike McDaniel in his dreams is nowhere near the stratosphere of those men. Okay? In order to be, he's a great play designer. He's not a head coach. Head coaches can adjust and win with different kind of talent. I haven't even seen him yet win without Tyreek Hill on a consistent basis. I haven't even seen him get plays in on time. I haven't even seen him win challenges on a consistent basis. I haven't even seen him use his intelligence and stay with the run. So Mike McDaniel is still got a ways to go. The indictment right now is not on Tua. It's not on the offensive line. It's not on the defense. It's not on the receivers. It's not on Chubb, okay, who made a boneheaded play this week, or anybody. Everything is on Mike McDaniel right now, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going anywhere until he graduates
as a head coach. Matt Verderam starts hour number 2 right here on the Big O Radio Show.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
There he is. The man, the myth, the legend. That is Matt Verderam. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
Very good. Interesting challenge coming up. I don't know if you were listening to my diatribe there at the end.
Yes.
Mike McDaniel, I think, is the guy that's on the on not a hot seat or anything like that, but the microscope is what I would put. Unfortunately, because he's become very Tyreek dependent and lacks creativity. And one of the things is he's a great play designer. But I as a head coach, I watch Eric Spoelstra. That's what I see Jim Larinaga do in basketball here. That's what I saw Pat Riley do. Certain coaches, that's where I test you, that you're missing certain guys and you've got to replace them and you've got to call games and you've got to be more creative. To me, that's the next test. He doesn't win challenges. He's too dependent on Tyreek Hill. He refuses to stay. Dude, the Dolphins are the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. Most yards, number 1 in per carry average, and they're 13th in attempts. Try to tell Baltimore those two stats, and you tell me if they're going to be 13th in attempts. Try to tell that to the Titans. Last year, both Mostert and Wilson averaged 4.5 and 4.6 carries per game, and you know where we were in attempts? Dead last in the NFL. This guy does not understand that the best friend of an offense and a quarterback is the run game. And his offensive linemen on Monday night could not pass block, but they were averaging for the game 5.1 yards per carry, and in the first half, 6.7. Mike McDaniel has problems making decisions and scheming without Tyreek Hill.
I agree with a lot of it. I know obviously I was going to do this morning and we were going to talk. And my thought was essentially that my number one thought was, I don't know why they don't run the ball more. So I agree with you there. And McDaniel, look, my one criticism of the Dolphins consistently this year has been, if you can get them to not play the way they want to play, it's a problem. Like they don't, I kind of use another, they don't have a left hand. They just don't. Like
no, wait a minute. They do.
Well, but
on
they
the
don't
goddamn ball.
But they
on
don't.
The goddamn ball.
But they don't because they don't go to it. So it doesn't matter, right? It's like when Chiefs fans say to me, "Well, if they just stop dropping the ball." The problem is they can't stop dropping the ball. right? Like at some point you are. The Dolphins can run the ball, but when they get in the moments that demands they have patience with it, they don't do it.
No.
So that you're right, like they can do it, but they don't. The only thing I would disagree on a little bit in that game is Tua's just got to play better. I'm sorry. Like I know Tyreek's hurt for part of that game. I know the offensive line is Swiss cheese right now. I get it. Armstead wasn't playing. Center's out for the year. I get all that. Tua at the end of this season, if they extend him, it's going to be $50 million a year. Like that's what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
If you're a $50 million a year player, you got to beat the Tennessee Titans. I don't care. Like you've got to figure out a way to get a field goal at the end of that football game.
Well, they did, but there was a fumble on the ground, and then they did, but they blocked the field goal. But they did. He threw a beautiful bomb to Achan, and Achan slowed down, and the bomb would have been more points. That's fine. That's three times that there were points on the board. And,
Well, he fumbled the ball in the red zone.
No, that was Eichenberg that fumbled it because he did not hike it right. That fumble was on Eichenberg, not on Tua. Go look at it. It was a short snap, and that's why he couldn't get a hold of the ball because he snapped it to his crotch, not past his crotch.
Fine.
And so then right there, you couldn't get a hand on the ball, and then the rest was history, and you gave up at least a field goal there. You know what I'm saying?
That's
at
fine.
least a field, and then you had another blocked field goal. You had another blocked field goal, and then Tua did make the perfect throw to Achan, but the kid slows down, and then that's it. It was over.
I agree with the Achan.
Dude, it reminded me a lot of Kansas City. There was only a couple plays to be made, and look, Tua played like shit. I'm not going to give him any excuses on it, but
it wasn't good.
There were plays there that should have been made, and they should have won the game. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. First of all, look, we can the fumble in the red zone. At the end of the day, they ended up getting it back because Levis throws a pick six anyway. But regardless, if he's an elite quarterback, and listen, I have come on this show for the last 2 years every week. I have said I think Tua gets a lot more crap than he deserves. Yeah. On Monday night, he's got to take them down the field at the end of that game. I'm sorry, you're playing against a Titans team that has no secondary, that doesn't have Jeffrey Simmons. I don't care. Like Tyreek Hill being out stinks, and that's frustrating. But like you're better than that team 100 times out of 100, even without Tyreek Hill on the field.
I agree.
Now,
I totally agree.
To be clear, do I think Tua is the main reason they lost? Absolutely not. I thought McDaniel was terrible in that game. And defensively, how do you give up 15 points to that team in 2 minutes?
That's where Fangio didn't blitz the young kid. That was
just
weird,
sat back and let him just throw the ball. And the one thing that look, and Fangio, this is part of his defense, and I'm a big Fangio guy, so I'm not killing Vic Fangio, but in that game specifically, Hopkins is the only guy who can beat you. The only guy. I mean, they have no other receiver you even remotely care about. Travel Ramsey with him. Like, put him in man. The Titans, the whole game, were like, we're going to run away from him because nobody else. And by the way, Xavier Howard, when he was in man a few times, did fine. But the Dolphins sat in the zone, and they just said, okay, great. We're going to run everybody away from Jalen Ramsey. Why the Dolphins didn't just say, you know what, I know it's not what we do typically, but we're just going to get in man, and we're going to take this guy out of the game, because if Westbrook Akine can beat us, go nuts. But they didn't do it. That is a failure of both coaching and of execution defensively. But in the end, I don't think Tua is the main reason. I think it all conspired. Bad coaching, bad defense, Tua not playing well enough, a couple of injuries, and here you are, 28-27.
And the worst part about it is Fangio's defense was fantastic. They scored a touchdown. They gave him two short fields for 2 more scores, right, on top of all of that. Yeah. It was just the final 2 drives. I don't know why he brain farted and said, no, let's just play prevent defense and let's let Will Levis pick us apart all the way downfield. That part I didn't understand. He ruined a beautiful performance. McDaniel sucked. He was terrible the whole game.
He was not good. I totally agree.
Fangio really only brain farted the last 2 drives. Outside of that, the defense was fantastic. Outside of that, it was the weirdest thing, dude. It was just a bad game, but you know what? Now all the pressure falls on them. They better get that crap corrected and start winning games here and start beating the Jets, because if not, It's going to be a really long offseason for this team if they have the kind of finish that they had last year when, things went completely awry.
I think they're going to beat the Jets. I just listen.
I do too.
I would be shocked if they lost to the Jets. The question for me is with the Dolphins, what happens the last 3 weeks of the year? Because that is about as hard of a stretch. I mean, look, Buffalo's going to be playing for its life in Week 18. And, the Cowboys right now are playing as good as anybody. And in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
There
we go. Now you're back. Repeat. Start again.
Sure. That last 3-game stretch is going to tell you everything you need to know. I mean, Dallas is playing as well as anybody. Baltimore, that's a road game and a tough place to play. And Buffalo might be playing for its life Week 18. So that's going to determine a lot with Miami. I mean, look, if the Bills win on Sunday against Dallas, which I don't think they will, but they could. If they win that game, they're going to beat Easton Stick and Bailey Zappi. Like, they're going to win those games. And I know they've made a habit all year of losing to teams like that. I get it. This time of year, I'd be shocked. So if they beat Dallas, they're probably going to be 10-6 going into Miami. If Miami gives them an opportunity to come out with that game and have a tie, guess what? You'll lose the tiebreaker to them if you lose that. So, like, the Dolphins, you got to win a couple of games here before you get to Buffalo. And if they do, they're fine. But you got to win, I would say, 2 of their next 3 at a minimum. I mean, that's probably where you're at. That's not going to be easy. They should kill the Jets. But it's those last 3 games that are going to really tell quite a bit.
For sure. And I say you better win 2 of those 3 at least. At least. If they go 2-2 down the stretch, I'm not going to feel good about the team going into the playoffs. They need to go 3-1 here. Beat the Jets, obviously, and then win 2 of those 3 difficult games. Now that you lost all the other ones, you need to win at least 2 of those 3, down the stretch and feel good. I just hope that McDaniel wakes up and starts to make better decisions, as a head coach. The guy can't win a challenge, doesn't use the running game. I mean, he does some stuff that just is baffling at times, and he's a really smart guy. That's the part that's kind of crazy, that a guy this smart makes that many boneheaded mistakes out there. It's just kind of nuts. All right, so what do you think about the Tom Curran report that Belichick is out and the decision? Well, it's kind of a report that I cover my ass. He's out, but, well, there could be a chance he comes back if he runs the table and, and finishes 5-game win. We look at it.
I mean, look, I think the report is from a very good reporter, but it's also pretty obvious stuff, right? I mean, like, he's not coming back. I mean, and they're not running the table. I mean, the Chiefs, despite all their nonsense, are not going to Foxborough and losing that game. So, I mean, look, they're going to finish, whatever. I don't even know what New England's schedule is. I know they got the Chiefs. They've got they don't. Actually, I do know what it is. It's Kansas City, Buffalo. They're at Denver, and they play the Jets. They're maybe winning 1 game. Okay, so they're going to.
Happy is not going to burn the Chiefs all over the place.
I mean, Josh Allen was throwing for 5.5 yards an attempt and running for his life all night, and they won because the Chiefs are the Chiefs and can't stop beating themselves. But I mean, I do not think that Bailey Zappi's lighting up Kansas City's defense. No, I do not. I think if New England hits double digits, they should be thrilled to death. So listen, they're going to finish, whatever, 4-13, let's just say. Yeah, Belichick. I mean, it's funny. We've talked about it from one angle the whole year, right? Like, well, are they going to fire Belichick? Would Belichick want to go back to that? Like, even if Robert Kraft came up to Bill Belichick and was like, Bill, we love you. We love to have you back. Is Bill Belichick signing up for another year of that? I mean, everybody keeps talking about how they're going to get this quarterback. Okay, great. Bill's 72 years old. He's going to coach till he's 80. I mean, I think if you're Belichick, either ride off into the sunset or you go somewhere where you really think like, hey, look, I got a guy I can win with right now. I mean, you're not, it's not like think about Brady, okay? So Brady leaves New England. He went to a team he thought could win right then and there. He didn't go to some team that was going to be a 5-year reclamation project.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's the same thing for Belichick at this point. If you're Belichick, you're not going to some team that you're like, yeah, maybe we can win 7 games. Now, everybody in the league, the words, the murmur you hear is Washington. Okay,
they're not close.
And that's my thing. It's like I get it, like he's from that area, but like, okay, like what is he going to do with that team? What are they going to finish 3rd in the division? Where are they going? The Chargers are interesting because of Herbert, but they're another one. It's like they're not winning that division. They're not better than Kansas. They're not gonna jump 8 teams in the AFC all of a sudden, and they're gonna lose 1 million guys after this year. But Herbert, at least you go, well, a quarterback, okay. Look, it's the bottom line is in New England, it's over. It's over. I mean, I would be very surprised if he comes back, and I'd also be shocked if they win more than 1 game the rest of the year.
Yeah, what I'm going to be like the Washington thing, like you've got a new owner and you want to turn a new page. You're going to bring an old fart like that now at this point where he's over the hill. That would make no sense whatsoever. I'm just going to laugh at somebody that actually does give him a chance because I think it's going to be a disaster. I really am. And I wonder how much this stains his legacy too, because it's just not a good look. This is it's kind of what I've been talking about with Mike McDaniel. It's like, yo, dude, you show me your offense is pretty cool with Tyreek, but then with no Tyreek, you can't show me you can't coach. You can't, because that's kind of coaching. You're going to turn over rosters. You're going to have different players. And if you're a good coach, you're Andy Reid, bro, you're going to have a great offense no matter who your people are. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. And we expect that with Andy Reid. And so I'm kind of like, what you want to give this guy an opportunity. What tells you that he's going to turn the corner and do something? Because he never did anything outside of Brady. And it's just a terrible look for him. So how much does this hurt his legacy in the long run?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think in the end, look, you're going to look back at his career and say, he won 6 Super Bowls. I mean, it's really hard to overlook the fact that I don't care who his quarterback was.
Okay.
I mean,
is he still the GOAT in your eyes?
For me, he was never the GOAT. I always thought it was either Vince Lombardi or Paul Brown. But I think that he's still on the Mount Rushmore of coaches for me. Yeah. I mean, he won 6 Super Bowls. Like I know he won it all. Brady. Well, Walsh won them all with Montana. I mean, Lombardi won them all at Starr. Noel won them all at Bradshaw, right? Like, and by the way, Noel coached for a long damn time after Bradshaw. How'd that go? Like, they were good sometimes. Never went back to a Super Bowl, So
but you win with different teams. You have certain Shula. You did get to the Super Bowl with Unitas. You got to the Super Bowl and won it with Greasy. You got to the Super Bowl with Woodstock, and you got to the Super Bowl with Marino. So you proved that with 4 different styles of quarterbacks, you could have some major success.
Yeah.
You didn't win them all, but you had major success, which that says a lot. That's something that Belichick never did, never was able to have success with anyone else, actually.
Right. I don't disagree with you. I think if you're asking me what his legacy is going to be 50 years from now, I think people will go, my God, the guy won 6 Super Bowls. I mean, I think that's his legacy. I think in the end.
That for sure, yes.
I mean, that I think. Now, you want to sit there and argue, hey, look, Brady basically, was the main reason they won all those Super Bowls. I'm not going to argue that. I would say this, though. I will say this, because I was old enough to watch all these and remember them. That first dynasty, Brady was much more of a caretaker than he was like the driving force of that team.
Yes.
Belichick defensively those years, they were ridiculous. I mean, that defense was the reason they won those Super Bowls.
Yeah,
so the second time around was much more about Brady and Edelman and Gronk. But like that first time, that team, to me, Belichick deserves a lot of credit, especially for those first 3, where they had, I mean, Brady was good, but Brady wasn't what he became, which was just great all-time player. Brady was good. He was efficient, but that defense was spectacular, and that was all because of Belichick.
Well, I think he picked it up in the second Super Bowl and on. The first one, I agree with you. He was like Ben Roethlisberger was in the first Super Bowl. The second Super Bowl, I thought Brady was a stud, just like Ben Roethlisberger was in the second Super Bowl. He was a monster. He made some throws that were just absolutely sick. So I'm with you there. All I'm saying is he was given that GOAT label. I think that GOAT label is now, while he wasn't your GOAT, he was many people's GOAT.
That's fair.
I think a lot of people now are going to say, if we have to measure it and start looking around, no, we got to go with guys that show me some versatility, that have done it with different teams and different quarterbacks and different eras and things like that. And I think those kind of coaches are the ones that are going to end up standing out, whether it's Joe Gibbs or Shula or whatever, guys like that did have. And by the way, even with Bill Walsh, I'll say this: I know he won it with one guy, right? But he's the guy that made the Steve Young move, and he's the guy that brought Seifert in, and he basically did a Jimmy Johnson / Switzer, where he kind of left that team in place for this guy, and they won the title, and then the thing went apart because it was like watching Riley leave the Knicks. The culture of the Knicks lasted for a little bit, but eventually it ran its course, and Van Gundy and everything dried out because what Riley set in place only lasted for so long because Riley wasn't kept around. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of one of those things that the Bill Walsh, product was left there like Jimmy Johnson, and you took advantage of it for a year and won a championship. It's kind of, that Seifert championship, I kind of give it to Bill Walsh in a way,
Well, I think a lot of people do. That team, that 89 team. I mean, you ever want to go back and look at a team that absolutely destroyed everybody they played? I mean, the 89 playoffs, they beat Minnesota with the best defensive football league. I mean, I'm not going to be 100% right. It was like 42-10 or something, and then they beat the Rams 30-3, and then went to the Super Bowl and won 55-10.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like playing a bunch of college teams.
I know.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. They beat three teams in the playoffs that badly. I mean,
those teams were so complete, dude. Offensively and defensively, they were so loaded, those Niners teams. Man.
Because of Montana and Rice, people don't even realize, and a lot of people don't realize, like, they had Roger Craig and Tom Rathman and John Taylor and Brent Jones. And then defensively, that team had Charles Haley. They traded away Charles Haley. They're like, we don't need him. I mean, Bill Romanowski and those teams, obviously a lot, guys like that, Keenan Turner, they were
loaded, bro.
You could make a real argument that those teams in that latter version of the Niners, that they're the greatest teams of all time.
They could be, for sure. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, listen, somebody wants to tell me the Steelers of the 70s. I have no problem with that. You want to tell me the Niners. I have the Dallas Cowboys of the mid-90s. I mean, it's so subjective. It's hard, but it's you can't tell anybody that tells you those Niners are the best teams ever. You can't tell them that, oh, no, you're out of your mind. No, they have a case. Right. They have a case. They can make a case.
I mean, your backup quarterback, Steve Young.
Yeah. It's just it's just stupid that team was so loaded. Bill Walsh was so ahead of his time, and that's because he learned from the best in Paul Brown. And those kind of things. It's the kind of stuff that you can't replace. Hey, no Hard Knocks yet for you?
Not yet. It's a busy time of the year. Hard Knocks is a lot easier to watch in August.
Okay, so let me ask you you're right about that because I couldn't keep up with the Colts one because it was in the middle of the season.
It's hard.
So I had to watch it after in the off season. Question for you, Cam Newton. When you're inaccurate and can't hit the ocean, are you really in any position to talk about any quarterback in the league? I'm just wondering. I get that everybody leans, well, he won the MVP. I get it, bro. He was a running quarterback, and it was fantastic and all that. But the real problem with Cam Newton was he couldn't hit the side of a barn. So for him to be talking about what a franchise or a game manager is or all that, I just found it kind of humorous. So your thoughts on all of that?
It's the same thought I have when I see guys like LaShawn McCoy, rip on like former teams and like teams you play. Like what are we doing? I mean, you just listen. You had a great career. Be happy for the career you had. Don't spend time ripping. I mean, look, as somebody who grew up rooting for the Chiefs, my all-time favorite was when Orlando Scandrick retired. Orlando Scandrick did more harm to the Chiefs in one season than any player I think has ever done in one season. I mean, he looked like me trying to cover people, and yet went on. I forget what channel it was, Fox or whatever it was, and would just relentlessly rip them like every time they lost a game. And then that year they winning the Super Bowl in 2019. And it was just, you were like, "Are you serious with this? Like you almost by yourself gave up 4,000 yards passing, and like you're going to go on TV every day and talk about the failures of Andy Reid? It's just a joke. Like it was just staggering." Like Cam Newton had a great career, won an MVP, went to a Super Bowl. That's fine. It was fun to watch for a long time. But like, yeah, I mean, is Cam Newton going to the Hall of Fame? No, he was a good player who had an incredible year. Yes, but at the end, like, yeah, no, I don't need Cam Newton or really anybody ripping on quarterbacks now. Like it's just a bad luck.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. Is it hands down that Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes are the best commercials in the NFL?
They're pretty good. I'll tell you right now, the team's better commercials than they are playing offense.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Right now,
I tell you, if they could get their success at commercials to translate to catching the ball on third down, they'd be in really good shape or lining up correctly. I've never seen a group of people whine so much about a call that was blatantly obvious.
That's weak sauce on
incredibly. And you know what?
That was terrible.
To me, from someone who's pretty close to that whole thing, the Reid part of it was worse than the Mahomes part of it. I know that with Mahomes, like, he's going to get crushed for being, a whiner, and that's fine. By the way, like he deserves to be.
He deserves to get
bad luck. Yeah. I would say to people though, in genuineness, like that was 95% of that was just being infuriated with his own team. And it just ended up coming out of the official. They can't do it. You can't do it. Whining about it to Allen, which you apologize for. You can't do it. My bigger thing is like Andy Reid after the game. Andy, stop blaming the officials. Like your receivers lined up a yard in front of the ball. I mean, and you know what? I've seen a lot of people. What happens in game? It does happen. In fact, there's a lot of people point out. Jalen Waddle actually did it on Monday night. He lined up in the neutral zone. It wasn't called.
Yes.
But like, you know what? I liken it to speeding. Okay. If I speed down the highway 25 times, I'm going to get away with it a bunch of times.
Right.
And you know what? I'm going to get ticketed. And you can't sit there and go, well, why did I get ticketed this time for going 90 and a 70? Because I went 90 and a 70 every day this week and I didn't get ticketed. Well, you know how you don't get a ticket? You stop going 90 and a 70. That's how you stop doing it. So, listen, the commercials are funny. The offense, depending on your perspective, also funny or very not funny, depending on who you are looking at them.
I got to tell you something. The part that I'm sure does not go unnoticed in the Chiefs locker room and maybe even Mahomes, because maybe that tirade was also indirectly kind of telling Tony, yo, bro, stop already. Look, I'm going to make an ass out of myself to defend you. And in the end, we have to point the finger, and I'll point at myself because I was a big Tony guy at the draft because I loved him coming out of Florida. I thought he had all the talent in the world. I know maturity has been an issue, and it continues to be an issue.
Still is.
He is not a professional. And in the end, whether it's the drop passes, the mistakes, whatever it is, dude, right, the guy is a constant fuck up. Okay. And that's what he is. He's a constant fuck up, and he's got to stop being a constant fuck up and learn how to be a professional. That's the real problem out of all of this. They made a trade for a guy that I love his talent too. And they probably love his talent. And we all know that if he actually screwed his head on right, he would easily be the best receiver on that team. And yet somehow or another, Tony just doesn't grow up and doesn't stay focused. It wasn't the ref. It's not Andy. It's not Pat. It's not anything. brother, the biggest problem with the Chiefs offense is that Tony doesn't wake the hell up, because if he did, you guys are Super Bowl winners again.
Well, I think it's a few things. I don't disagree with anything said about Kadarius Toney. He's directly cost them 2 football games at this point. Directly.
Christ.
Now, they are top 5 in turnovers. The offensive line has taken more penalties than any other offensive line in football, and they lead the league in drops. I mean, you want to talk about a team that just self-destructs over and over and over. It's incredible. When they play their best, you could make an argument it's the best team they've had. Really, because of the defense. The defense is insane. Yes. But they just beat themselves. Look, Mahomes is to a point, and I'm not going to defend this. I mean, you can't go up there and just yell about the officials making the correct call. At the same point, I can tell you right now, that was not about the officials. That was a season's worth of frustration. He's pissed off with the receivers. He's pissed off at the offensive line, their penalties. He's pissed off. I mean, look, it's my job to watch the tape of these teams. I can't tell you how many times you watch them. We're talking over 50 times this year. They run the wrong route. They have no idea where they're supposed to go. It's
Imagine being Pat Mahomes and you can't trust any of your receivers.
Right.
Brother, that's a difficult job, because you're almost second-guessing every throw you're making. Will this guy catch it? Will this guy catch it? Back in the day, Marino, you dropped a pass or two, and he was like, yo, bro, like Shula, don't even bother sending him in, because I ain't going to throw to him anymore. And it's almost, and he can't do that, because then he would have no receivers left. I mean, Rashee Rice is like the only guy, right, that's somewhat reliable, right? That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the hardest thing, like I was saying, is, they can't run the right route. I mean, it happens over and over and over and over. And I think that's a big part of the reason that they're so tentative offensively. Like, he can't throw with any anticipation, because he doesn't know if they're going to do the right thing with their routes. I mean, there was a drive in that game. It was either the second or third drive against Buffalo. He threw a ball perfect. I mean, a gorgeous throw, 25 yards downfield between double coverage to Richie James, drops it right in his hand.
I know.
Then they convert, third down. First down, they run the ball. They get 2. 2nd and 8. He throws to Kadarius Toney on the sideline. Guys, as wide open as the day is long. Drops it right in his hands. Third down. MVS is wide open at the 10-yard line if he just sits down in the zone. Mahomes guns it to that zone. MVS just runs clear through it. I mean, this is stuff, if you watch them every week, they do this every week. I mean, a minimum of half dozen plays a game where they have no idea where they're going. The only saving grace for them is the defense, is Kelsey, and Rashee Rice, who's been a revelation for him. He's the only receiver that's worth anything. And even he fumbles the ball and drops the ball, but at least he does something when he has it. But they are a mess offensively at the moment, that's for sure.
What do you got going on Sports Illustrated?
Film studies out today. Quarterback rankings out tomorrow. A matchup to watch for every single game is out Friday. I have my running column on Sunday that breaks down every game as they're happening, which actually is going to start Saturday this week. There's 3 games. So that'll be up all weekend on SI.com. You can check that out. I'll retweet it. So there's plenty. There's plenty. I'll have playoff picture stuff. I'll have stuff on rookies who are doing well and not doing so hot. Same with the MVP race. I'm handicapping that every week. So there's plenty to read if you'd like to check it all out.
As always, I appreciate your time, my brother. Follow him on Twitter out there at Matt Verderam and catch his exceptional work there at Sports Illustrated. We will catch up next week, my friend. Enjoy the football.
Hey, take care.
You got it. There you go. Matt Verderam coming through, baby. We love him. All right, let's tell you about Welton Rayom. We love talking about Welton Rayom. Jeff and Dan, they do great work. Let me tell you, folks, if you are struggling, and I know right now families all over are going into their savings accounts. They're going into their 401ks. 4%, up to 4% last month. It's not good for our economy. So if you're dealing with some financial issues like bankruptcy, please call Welton Rayom. They can help you out. Homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. You had an accident. You don't know if you have a case or not. Call Jeff right now, 954-966-4646. The consultation is completely free. Explain your situation, and Jeff will tell you if you have a case or not. That's why you can call Jeff Welt right now, anywhere here in Florida. One of our listeners in Orlando came down and hired Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom. 966-4646 and tell them that Big O sent you. All right. Yes, sir.
Hey, O,
Yes.
can we congratulate two of the great quarterbacks in the NFL? They are the players of the week in the AFC and NFC.
What's that?
It is the New York Giants quarterback,
Oh,
DeVito,
Tommy DeVito.
and
What's
the New
that?
York Jets quarterback, Zach Wilson.
Wow.
Players of the week. We won't be able to say that too often, so let's
No.
just get that out there now.
Was that really his agent? That was really his agent?
That's what everybody's saying now. So I'm going off of what TV and everybody else is saying.
Because the
So-
guy dresses like an
it's
Italian
perfect.
mobster.
It's perfect. Did you see him up there with the family?
Yeah.
When they did the touchdown, they're all kissing each other on the cheeks.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
It's like, yeah. Tommy DeVito. with
DeVito.
with
I
his
love the
agent.
celebration, man. It's-
His agent out there. Yeah.
I almost feel like
It's a
Dayball
fun
kind of
story.
staged
It
this
is a-
just to have something like for the Giants to talk.
It's a fun story, man. It's a fun story. He's not a good quarterback, but he's gritty, is what I'll say about Tommy DeVito. He's gritty. He's a tough dude. He's a Jersey kid, you know? So yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that that whole thing. Tough kid. He is a tough kid. I mean, he took some hits, dude. Yeah, he's a tough kid. There's no doubt. What's that?
He doesn't slide a lot either.
No.
He's like, this is my one chance. I'm gonna take all I can.
Hey, man, defense is balling for them right now. If he can get a couple of points, then he's all right. You know? If Tua doesn't throw those 2 picks before the half, Jets have nothing. That's right. Let's see what else do we have on the chat board. There is nothing consistent with the Dolphins except doubt. Can we trust them to win 2 out of the last 4 games? We will see. We shall see. I think the 80s Niners was a great dynasty I ever saw. I don't have a problem with that. Those teams were amazing. Let's see. Omar Geiner says, stay positive, boys. What else do we have? JT, damn, the hate towards a franchise that won rings is something else. I mean, I am not about to rant against teams that won it all, just constantly bash them. No one is feeling sorry for the Dolphins. Okay. Bashing, I don't know what we're talking about there. Those commercials are trash as far as are most commercials. I can't think of any great commercials out right now. I enjoy the Andy Reid ones. I'm sorry. I enjoy that. Can you explain it with those nuggies? I'm good. Problem is you've seen it 1,000 times, so it's not as funny. But, you know, the one where he's painting the guy's face, oh, I got to get on that. I mean, come on, bro. That's some good stuff. I'm enjoying those. Yeah, my auto too. Yeah. Why can't we name it Kelsey and Mahomes switch to auto and life and this, that, whatever? And he says like 8 sentences and they look at each other and Mahomes and my auto. Come on, man. Yeah, that's not that bad. I actually think the Chiefs commercials are pretty good.
And even the Snickers one, right? With Andy Reid.
Oh, the
he's like,
chefs.
who are the chefs?
Who are the
Great
chefs?
jobs.
Great
Great
job.
googly moogly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, man. I'll take Pat in Nashville, I am disagreeing with you on that one, bro. I am loving the Chiefs commercials. I think Andy Reid does an awesome job with those commercials. I like it because it's Andy Reid doing it, you know?
You know how State Farm is the good hands people.
Yes.
You have the receivers lined up, and then you just cross them out, and then you have Jake from State Farm.
That's
Catch
it.
the football for Patrick Mahomes. Since nobody else does it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Jake's got better hands. Can't believe how fickle and cowardly a lot of these losers are in our fan base. Yeah, well, what do you expect? People love the negativity, and they love to ride that horse of negativity. So it is what it is. What are you going to do? What else do we have here on the chat board?
Barry Switzer was a terrible game day coach, but still won a Super Bowl with the Cowboys. Yeah, that's because that was Jimmy Johnson's team. That was already set in place, assistant coaches and all. They carried him to that title is what ended up happening. Okay. Hunter Butler. Oh, you blamed the snap on Tua beginning of the year. Now it's on Eichenberg's fault? Yeah. Hunter, you can't tell the difference between the two, bro? You struggle with that? That was right here for Tua. Right here on the side. Right here on the side. It wasn't way out there. It was right here on the side. He should have caught it. Was it a great snap? No, but he should have caught it. I'm blaming Tua for that one. The other one, the snap, look at the snap. He didn't hand it to him. He's waiting for it, and he just shortens it on the snap, and so he has to then reach for it, and that's where he doesn't get, because then the guy's moving forward to block, and so all of a sudden, you lose the ball. Go watch it, dude. Hunter, I'm sorry, dude, if you take things personal or something. I don't. I just look at it objectively. Okay? And if you look at the other snap, it was a snap that was to the side. Wasn't a great snap, but it was very catchable. And he should have caught it. He caught on Monday night, he caught one up here. Right? Bad snap, but he could catch it. It's not the one that went way over him that he can't reach it. That's his. But if it's up here and it hits his hands, you got to catch it, dude. So I'm going to blame it on Tua. This one went this way. It hit him. We got Safin? Okay. All right, let's go. Let's release the Safin Dean and our BaptistHealth.net/ortho Miami Dolphins report.
Let's get the latest from the Aqua and Orange with our Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Dolphins report with USA Today insider Safin Dean. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net. Here's Safin Dean.
All right. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Safin Dean. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, Big O. I got a 10-minute hard out, bro. So,
well, you're a slacker because I sent you a link earlier in the morning, bro.
Bro, I've been on here since 11:30. You're talking to Matt, bro.
You're slacking. Listen, this test now comes to Mike McDaniel. From here on out, everything falls on Mike McDaniel, I think, for the rest of the season. Yeah. He has to prove to us that he can coach without Tyreek, that he can win a challenge, that he can actually manage a game and stick with the run. I think that's what this season now, it's not about Tua. I think that's lazy out there. It's not about the offensive line. That's lazy too. They couldn't pass block. They could run block. He chose not to adjust with what's going on. What kind of criticism needs to start falling on Mike McDaniel?
All of it, all of the above, like you just said. Mike was exposed on Monday night. The offense was very limited without Tyreek Hill on the field. It felt like to me that the Dolphins really wanted to keep Tyreek out. And at some point in what happened, either Tyreek says he made the decision, but they needed some juice. And they got it from Tyreek at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. But they didn't score. They still didn't score. And the points that came in this game were fluky. Zealer with the pick six, Mostert with those 2 rushing touchdowns after turnovers. You know, in my book, the Dolphins offense really had 0 points on Monday night against the Titans. They did absolutely nothing. The biggest opportunity was the beginning of the game, and then they fumbled the snap between Eichenberg and Tua. And that felt like a run play that was going to happen again when we talk about run the ball more. So I did like the fact that on those Mostert run touchdowns, the play before the touchdown, he was still running the ball. So he was doing what we all wanted him to do in that point where you're telling him to run the ball in the red zone. He was doing that. There was no passes at that point. That's why those 2 touchdowns happened. And they took the foot off the gas pedal, man. All those guys. You know, the zone defense is what Fangio plays. You know, Ramsey picks up Hopkins to a certain point and then lets him go into the middle of the field. And they got beat on a huge crosser. They got down the field in a hurry. And the Titans just put up mad points on them, man. Will Levis could beat the zone, and they took that for granted, and they ended up losing. But this was on offense for me. You can blame the defense as much as you want. I think they missed
just
Holland
the
for
last
sure.
two drives.
Yeah.
Benji only deserves criticism for the last two drives that he didn't pressure Will Levis.
Mhm.
His defense was the reason why you were in the game.
Defense was the reason they were in the game because they had nothing on offense.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. To me, when I look back at this Titans film, and it was very similar to the Chiefs game for me. Remember, Waddle goes out the second play of the game, and they kind of stall out, and then their offense is just stalling the rest of the game. This was very similar to that, where Connor Williams went out and they had a shuffle, and then as soon as Tyreek left the game on the second series or the third, I believe, the whole building just deflated. Because everybody knows how important Tyreek is to this offense. Tyreek is the offense. And I don't blame Mike for kind of not knowing what to do. He still called a decent game, tried to spread it around and try to make some long drives happen down the field. But sometimes they were just not able to convert. There were a lot more punts in this game and limited opportunities, which was not great.
Did you watch Hard Knocks yesterday?
Yeah, Hard Knocks was a little underwhelming, to be honest.
Well, that's because it comes off a loss.
Off a loss, and then the quick turnaround because you have to ready by Tuesday morning probably. There was not much about Tyreek on the sideline, which you would have loved to see. I would have loved to see that. And the loss kind of just came really quickly. They took the lead. Mostert and Ingold were having their moments when they scored, but after that point, the how it dissolved, that feeling that was inside the stadium didn't really get conveyed as much, I believe. And I thought Mike McDaniel didn't really have a great inspiring speech at halftime either. We're going to go score some more points, and they didn't do that. So I was kind of underwhelmed by the episode last night.
Did anything that McDaniel say stood out to you?
From Monday?
Yeah, from
Tuesday, excuse me?
From Hard Knocks, yeah.
I mean, the point, the part with his daughter was incredible. It was an incredible point in the show. Obviously they're the new first family, the Miami Dolphins. Beautiful to see. It's nice that Mike can get a couple minutes with his family here and there. Outside of that, and then embracing the 9-3 and trying to say this is your moment. This is going to be tough. This and that.
What'd you think of the exchange? What'd you think of the exchange towards the end with Mostert and Ingold on the sidelines?
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, those guys are running and blocking for each other. Ingold was very, there was a point in the game where Ingold had a block and missed it. And he told Mostert, I'm sorry. And then later on in the game, Ingold made that block and Mostert ran right behind him. Those two guys are the reason why Mostert has 16, 17, 18 touchdowns. I lost track.
Yeah, I think you're missing my point.
I am missing your point.
Yeah. So after they score the second touchdown, he walks over to both Mostert and Ingold and said, after that first goal run, I knew I had to go back to you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, good.
Really? So you figured that shit out at the end of the game? Really?
Some of you should have figured out all season, right?
Yeah, some shit you should have figured out for 2 seasons now.
Yeah, definitely.
It would have helped last year too in certain times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, that I lost it. I almost punched the shit out of the TV when he said that last night. I was like, you really, bro? You have the balls to say that now? I mean, this is a really smart guy.
Yeah.
That does some stupid shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing where you coach offense, where offensive coaches are. Look, I covered Jimbo Fisher was the first coach I covered, and he's been stubborn as hell for as long as we've known him. And look, 10 years later, he gets fired at Texas A&M, and the same thing is being said about him. That was being said about him when he left Florida State. His offense is not fresh, needs to do some different things, and that's somebody who kind of banged his head against the wall long enough to see if things will work, and they won't. Offensive play callers are very optimistic. They think every play call is going to work. Mike McDaniel is no different in that. And when his plays don't work and he tells us, yeah, that was the wrong play because it didn't work. I mean, yeah, sure. Can't be telling us the same thing all the time. It was nice that he figured out he needs to run the ball more. And I think this Jets game is going to be a run the ball game. Tyreek probably is going to suit up, probably not going to play much because you still want the threat of Tyreek kind of lingering for the Jets. But I think we'll find out pretty quickly. Tyreek won't play much, if at all, in this game. Think they should keep him out because You're not going to win the Super Bowl on Sunday. You're going to win it later on this year.
You know what? They should keep him out just to see if Mike McDaniel can goddamn coach a game without him.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Yeah.
I don't even want him out there. See, this is what I was talking earlier before you were on, which with Eric Spoelstra. Okay, he could be missing half his team,
and they all know how to play.
And then he's playing the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Are you not tuning in, going, I don't give a shit. That guy might beat him. The Heat might win tonight. I don't care that they only have half their team and they called the other half of their G League team up. Miami might hand the number one team in the NBA a loss tonight. I'm going to watch. You know why you do that? Because you know that Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA, and no matter who plays for him, you're going to play your best. And that's what I cannot say about Mike McDaniel. He does not adjust well without one style. That's like, only winning championships with Tom Brady.
Well, for the NBA teams, that off night in Miami the day before surely helps the Heat as well too, especially if they're coming from the West Coast.
Don't you dare take anything away from Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley when it comes to coaching.
Hey man, that NBA that off day for NBA teams coming to Miami, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. You could say Jimmy Butler every time a road team is coming in with a day off in Miami. The Heat will still win with all the other guys. But I agree to your point that when all the other guys are in, they know what the focus is. They know what the message is, the mission is. That's what that Heat culture is all about. Dolphins culture needs to have some more oomph to it. You know what I mean? It needs to have some more. We're gonna kick your ass, and we don't matter. Where we are, where we're playing, who's in the lineup or not. And it's not there right now. Look, to be fair, you're missing O-line starters. Connor Williams out for the season. Be interesting to see if Eichenberg takes that spot the rest of the year because he was playing really good at left guard. We'll see how Lester Cotton does. The lineup was kind of crazy with Kendall Lamb. And then McDaniel says Armstead is closer than Robert Hunt, which is not great because you wanted Robert Hunt to be a little bit more closer. Maybe he shouldn't have played in that Washington game because he kind of had a flare-up in that game. But they're going to have to figure out the soul line. They're going to have to figure out this injury situation quick because not only it's the Jets, it's the rest of the season too. They're still not everything was given to them on a silver platter like we did give it to them before the Titans game. Number one seed's probably out the question. AFC East very much could be in play in the last game of the season. So we'll see how it goes.
There's only 5 elite coaches in the history of South Florida sports.
Okay.
And these 5 are guys that can coach anyone at any time and make them better. And that is Larinaga, Ron Frazier, Eric Spoelstra, Don Shula, and Pat Riley. So these guys in the history of this town.
Yeah, no love for Jim Leland or Jack McKeon. No,
Jim Leland is as overrated as it gets.
What about McKeon? McKeon did it with all those guys.
McKeon didn't even know their names, bro. And let me tell you something. I covered that team. That team was not going to win the World Series until we traded for Darren Dalton.
Did you say Jimmy Johnson on your list?
No, Jimmy Johnson is definitely not on my list. Are you kidding me? Jimmy Johnson allowed Vinny Testaverde to continue to pass. He threw 9 interceptions in 2 seasons in 2 bowl games, including the Fiesta Bowl, which you're too young. But, Highsmith was averaging 6 yards a carry. Unlike McDaniel, the idiot just allowed to keep passing when your running game was dominating. And he chose not to go with the running game and win the national championship and allow the quarterback to keep giving the ball away. So, no. Plus, they weren't here long. They weren't here long enough to make, any kind. Jimmy really didn't do anything here, dude. It was
here
twice.
He was here twice.
Huh?
He's here twice.
I'm saying UM is where he won the title. He didn't do shit. With the Dolphins, he drafted a couple of good, defensive players, but as a coach, dude, he was pathetic. He didn't do anything. He destroyed Dan Marino's career at the end. He was terrible. But anyway, my point is McDaniel needs to get to the point of these kind of guys that were flexible and can win with different types of teams and different types of players.
Yeah, they can definitely do it. Look, the Dolphins have enough weapons. It's not just Tyreek. You want to see more from Waddle. You want to see more from those running backs. And you're hoping to see something from your receiver depth. Tua spreading the ball around, everybody got a touch. It felt like in the Titans game, either you limit touches or you just give A-Chain and Mostert the bulk load of it, and see where you go from there.
And give Wilson some of the short yardage stuff so you can take some of the burden off of them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The ones and the third and ones and the third and twos, use Wilson as the hammer for those kind of things. All right, follow him on Twitter at Safid_Dean. Catch his exceptional work there at USA Today. As always, Safid, we'll catch up on Friday, my friend. Appreciate you.
See you, Big O. Take it easy.
You got it. There you go. And when we talk about BaptistHealth.net/ortho, folks, listen, if you have an injury right now that's keeping you from doing what you love, take charge of your health and get back into the game with the help of the all-pro staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. And folks, the main hospital is in 89th and Kendall. I've visited that hospital several times. We've got one in Boynton Beach, actually two, Bethesda East and West. We've got the Miami Cancer Institute, Doctors Hospital in Coral Gables. In the Keys, Marathon Key, we've got a Fisherman's Community, Mariners Hospital in Tavernier Key. Up in Boca at 800 Meadows Road, the Boca Regional Center. So BaptistHealth.net/ortho, or use that QR code that's right there so you can make an appointment and get back into the game with the help of the all-pro staff at BaptistHealth.net/ortho.
The Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Dolphins report with insider Safid Dean is brought to you by Baptist Health of South Florida. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net.
Oh, we're back. There we go. Let's see what we got. What? No, I'm good. Keena Turner, one of the best NFL names ever. Okay. I think this loss made him realize his stubborn play calling is not for the betterment of the team. I'll believe it when I see it. Mike McDaniel lied to my face. He lied to Raheem Mostert. He lied to everyone when he said in the offseason that he realized he needed to run the ball more. Okay? And in a situation where on Monday night where his offensive line desperately needed him to complement them by running the ball more, he failed them. He put them more in a position of pass protection, something that they could not do. In a zone scheme, you got to have a lot of chemistry. 4 out of 5 guys are backups. They're not going to have chemistry. And the one thing that they were showing some chemistry in was running the football. Why didn't you continue to complement what your team was excelling at? And why force the issue and tell the defense what you obviously were doing, passing the ball? So no, disagree on that. Big O, who's the biggest injury of the season? There's so many, man. The Connor Williams one is crushing. What do we have right now? What's out now? Teron Armstead will be back. So, and you have Kendall Lamb. So the Teron Armstead loss nowadays is not nearly as bad because Kendall Lamb does a really good job overall. So I can't say that's the worst now anymore. Connor's worse than that. Isaiah Wynn hasn't been around long enough to say it. It just sucks to lose him. Who else are we losing? Oh, Jalen Phillips would be, wow. I'm going to go Connor and then Jalen, because you can replace Jalen a little bit because Van Ginkel and company have done a good job. Even though I like Jalen, I'm going to go Connor. Anything else that I'm missing? No, not Jerome Baker, no. I mean, he's all right, but it's not like, no, not over those guys.
No. But I mean, as far as watching Duke Riley try to cover people.
Yeah. Well, no, don't do it on Spears. Spears would burn 90% of the linebackers in the NFL.
That's true. Yeah, he is. He's a different dynamic of a
That's not fair to Riley.
But it was just like, it's another one of those things where it was kind of like, it reminded me, because again, going back to Dolphins teams of the past, we can never cover the tight end.
Right.
And this year it felt like it kind of, And again, looking back at it, maybe we haven't played a lot of great tight ends. I don't know. I haven't really looked at what we played, but it felt like this year was the one year where that wasn't happening. And whether it was Fangio, the scheme, it looked like Baker was that role. That's the only reason I even look at him as a loss.
Yeah, I'm with you. So that'll be the I'll go. Who? No, but Holland's not. He'll be back. Yeah, I think he means biggest loss overall. I'll go Connor slightly over Jalen Phillips. That'll probably be, we'll see. Let's see. Eddie De La Torre, Jimmy Johnson, recruiter, drafted 16 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't give a shit. What does that do for me? I'm sorry. I must have missed that. I still saw him destroy Marino's career and do a terrible job here. And then I also saw him choke away a really easy game plan against Penn State. Just hand the ball off to Highsmith. And by the way, Mr. De La Torre, he had an example. The year before in the Sugar Bowl, Vinny Testaverde in the biggest game of the year threw 4 interceptions. So he already knew that Vinny was a choking dog. So what does he allow him to do in a Penn State game in the Fiesta Bowl with them flooding the zone? They dared Miami to run the ball, and the moron passed into exactly what they wanted him to do. So I don't care about 16 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Who gives a shit about that? I care about Miami, my brother. I live here. What he did in Dallas means nothing to me. I don't care what Jimmy Johnson did in Dallas. I don't care about the Dallas Cowboys. They mean nothing in my world. Okay? So what he did and affected my world, that's my problem with him. So, yeah, Dallas Cowboy fans, they should celebrate him, bro. But Dolphins and Canes fans, I got nothing good to say. And he was an asshole on top of all of that. Add that too. Yep, I agree. Johnson was an awful coach of the Dolphins, says the Drew. Bro, what he did in Marino is never forgive him. Looks like the Finns are opening in Brazil next season. Well, if it happens, then who knows? Maybe I'm there. Can we get a Brazilian business out there? Somebody watching in Brazil want to fly us out there. McDaniel didn't learn from last year at all. No, he hasn't. He hasn't learned the damn thing. That's for sure. I think it's Connor Williams, says Eddie Lepp. I feel the offense is Achilles. If they pressure in the middle right away, it messes everything up. I think all of our losses were without Connor. I think you might be right, actually. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, the Bills. Eichenberg played the Eagles game. The Chiefs one is the only one I don't know. Wow, that's pretty good, Eddie. I didn't realize that. That's a good one. Let's see. If the Dolphins ran the ball in the first half of the game and the know-how offense, they beat most anybody. The object is to wear down your opponent's defense and then throw when you need to. Well, you have more brains than Mike McDaniel does right now. Never forget Penn State. That loss hurts. That was the best Hurricanes team to never win a chance. I actually think Rosendo, that's the greatest Canes team ever. I think the greatest Canes team ever was led to a loss by Jimmy Johnson's stupidity. Because my brothers and sisters out there, there is no other way to describe what Jimmy Johnson did in the Fiesta Bowl. It's plain stupidity. It blows away what Mario Cristobal did against Georgia Tech. It's not even close. Jimmy Johnson was such a dumbass, For 4 quarters, he allowed Vinny Testaverde to bury his team and never changed the game plan for 4 whole quarters. At least Mario Cristobal's mistake was a brain fart. One moment where he made a bad decision. Jimmy Johnson, for 4 complete quarters, did not have any idea that he was a dumbass. I mean, brother, what Jimmy Johnson did in the Fiesta Bowl is some of the worst coaching in the history of all of sports. Some of the dumbest coaching in all of sports. How Jimmy Johnson handled the Fiesta Bowl that night, in fact, he should be booted from all of sports. Okay? That's how disgusting that night was by Jimmy Johnson. It was even worse than what he did to Marino. And what he did to Marino was, as low as it can get. But what he did in the Fiesta Bowl, I've never seen such stupidity in my entire life than what Jimmy Johnson did in the Fiesta Bowl. What a freaking moron. Oh, my God, what a dumbass. Jimmy wanted to prove his Heisman Trophy winner Testaverde was correct. Yeah, sure. Well, he was wrong. Wrong as hell. And Vinny, by the way, was superly gifted. Supremely gifted. I mean, super gifted. It was crazy. But he did not have a clutch gene in him ever in his life. My daughter Adriana is watching. Say hi to her, please. She has a really bad flu, and she's here with me today. Adriana, I hope you feel better, okay? Get some rest. Pay attention to mom and dad, all right? Drink a lot of fluids, and thank you for watching. I hope you feel better, okay? And stay away from Jimmy Johnson. Only way to move on from the Titans' loss is to win the Jets, Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills. Now that's easier said than done. I'll take 3 or 4. Okay? And you have to beat the Jets out of those 3. You cannot lose to the Jets. But yeah, you need to at least win 3 or 4. That's what I need to see. I need to see Mike McDaniel finish strong. There's a part of me that doesn't want to see Tyreek for a couple of weeks. Come back for like the Ravens or the Bills game. Like, I want to leave Mike McDaniel out on an island for a couple of weeks without Tyreek. I would like to do that. I want to see if we can take the training wheels off Mike McDaniel. Does Mike McDaniel still need the training wheels? Does he need the oversized bib? Huh, Mike? Should we get you the big bib? Is that what he needs right now? The poor baby. He needs the big bib. Is that's what's going on, Mike? You're a little too messy with your food? Is that what's going on? You still don't know how to eat yet? We can help you, Mike. We can get the high chair. We can get you the big bib. We can make life a little easier for you if you want, dude. You know what? We can cut up the food for you also. I had a friend of mine that his mom would cut up his steak or his chicken all the way till he was like 15. And we'd be laughing at his ass. So, that might be the good thing for him. We might, is it Linus, the one that had the towel? Let's take the towel away from Linus. That's Mike McDaniel's walking around and he's got Tyreek Hill towel on him the entire time. He can't live without the Tyreek Hill towel. So let's take the towel away from him and let's see if he can actually grow up and be a big boy now. Let's see if he can play without Bam Adebayo. I know a coach that can coach without Bam Adebayo. I know a coach that can get to a championship game without the big three. I've seen that before, by the way. I've watched coaches with 2 backup quarterbacks get to a Super Bowl. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe Mike McDaniel needs to be stripped of his dependencies or dependency, which is Tyreek Hill. Let's do that. Let's see. I agree. Can we let Cheetah rest for a few? Let's see what Uno can really do. I'm not worried about Uno. I know what Uno can do. It's the coach. I know where you're coming from, Cap for Life, but you're not very smart. So that's kind of, True Fin fan, you're the best, Big O. She says thank you, and she can't stop smiling. Thanks for making my little girl smile. Appreciate that. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to see Adriana smile. A smile is always good, Adriana. Let's see. Big O, no Tyreek might mean more running the ball. Oh, wait. It's McD coaching. Oh, man. All right, let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Why don't we? We like Alan Blanco. No, we love Alan Blanco. And if you're looking for custom printing and embroidery, you call him, man. 786-618-1443. Kraken defeated the Panthers last night, 4-0. Bob with 19 saves. I was done after the first period. I watched the first period, and I just couldn't. I couldn't, man. I couldn't. It was Hard Knocks first period, and then I watched a little news, and then I went to sleep. They got Vancouver, by the way, tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Tonight, the Hornets and the Heat. The Heat are favored by 8. The over and under is 224. No Bam, no Tyler, no Highsmith, but no problem. Eric Spoelstra can do something that Mike McDaniel can do. He can coach without a star. He knows how to do those things. Maybe Mike McDaniel should actually buy a ticket to get down over to the Kaseya Center so he can actually learn how to coach without a star. That might be good for Mike McDaniel. Learn how to coach without a star. Thursday night, by the way, the Chargers and the Raiders are favored by 3. The over and under is 34. Chargers plus 130, Raiders minus 155. Sunday, 1 o'clock, the stinking New York Jets visit the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins are favored by 9. The over and under is 39. Jets plus 370 on the money line. Dolphins minus 485 on the money line. All right? That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. 786-618-1443. All right. So let's talk a little Hard Knocks last night. Certain things that went on Hard Knocks. By the way, Raheem Mostert, you still need to learn the fight song. Okay, just want to say I caught you trying to sing the fight song. It's a nice job, but you didn't do a good job. Okay, I just want you to know you got to learn the words. Okay, if you're going to sing the fight song, learn the words. Just say it. And Hard Knocks has a different taste after a loss, doesn't it? Because I'm listening to Campanelli go off and all that stuff, and it just doesn't resonate. It sounded so hollow and empty. It doesn't carry the impact when you're coming off a loss. And that was kind of the vibe of Hard Knocks this week. It was underwhelming. It wasn't one of those where you walked away feeling so good about it and psyched and pumped. It was one where you were kind of like, and Campanelli with the rah bullshit and all that. And
It's like, yeah, but you guys lost. You lost a game you had no business losing. It's funny how a win or a loss can change your feel, your emotion of how you're watching this show. It's strange. But the rah speech just isn't very rah after you lose. Fangio McDaniel, you finally got your Vic Fangio on Hard Knocks. Everybody was wondering, hey, man, will you ever get Vic Fangio? And all it was a moment where they recorded a conversation with McDaniel and Fangio. And let me tell you something. And I'm sorry to ruin this for you guys if you haven't watched it. It is what it is. I'm sorry. But I almost get the feeling, okay? You tell me, anybody that watched it yesterday, okay, we got over 200 people right now. The scene with McDaniel and Fangio talking. Tell me that that's not a producer from HBO that walked over to the coach and say, hey, coach, I know we're not going to be able to get Vic Fangio because he's kind of made it very clear to us that he's not really a fan of what we're doing. But at one point or another, can you try to have a conversation with him? So, we'll try to keep something that's really benign on the air for you. But just to kind of get a little Vic Fangio in there. And he goes, and that conversation, it just kind of seemed like it was contrived. That's all. It just seemed like the coach was trying to come up with something, and then they were able to use one little slice of that conversation on the sidelines. It just didn't seem natural. That's all I'm going to say. Anybody get the same feeling from that conversation? Or maybe you didn't get a good feeling from the conversation, but you didn't realize until what I brought up that maybe it was a producer talking to McDaniel or a producer talking to the PR person who then talked to McDaniel and said, hey, coach, if you get a chance, try to have a short conversation with Vic Fangio so they can film it and get a little piece since they're not going to really get much of Vic overall because you got Vic Fangio yesterday. Yeah, but it was just a little conversation that lasted like a minute between him and McDaniel, and it looked like it was so contrived. Like the PR person went over to coach and said, "Hey, coach, HBO would, if you get a chance, have a conversation with Fangio since they're not going to be able to get him, and he's not a fan of what they're doing. So just to have a little Fangio in there." And so he's like making small talk with Fangio, and it doesn't come across like it's natural. You know what I'm saying? Did anybody get that same feeling on the chat board there? Those of you that watched it yesterday, did it look kind of rigged, the McDaniel Fangio conversation? That's all. I'm just wondering. Gotti says that conversation felt very scripted. It says, the loss on Monday night pissed me off so much that I haven't watched anything pertaining to the Miami Dolphins, just this show. Like most of the time, just this show. I'll watch it after this show. Okay. Well, you tell me after. All right, True Fin fan, tomorrow. Any of you that watched the Hard Knocks, you tell me that conversation with McDaniel and Fangio, if it did not look like it was just, McDaniel just creating some shit just to put Fangio in the show. Because that's exactly what it looked like, dude. Oh, man. Yes.
Got one other question for you pertaining to Monday night.
Okay.
Not only did Fangio not blitz, but they ran a defense to where every play was able to get out of bounds so easily.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
It was like, and they were even saying, Orlovsky was even like,
yeah, they don't need their timeouts. They keep getting out of bounds.
Like, get out of bounds. And then you saw what the Titans did when on the, flipping around. Our guys were trying to dive to get out of bounds and jumping over people and everything else. Just very odd, man. Very odd.
Very, very poorly coached is what it was.
You wouldn't even think the players, though, would know, like, it's not like we got a bunch of rookies out there.
No, you're right. You're right. Please don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. Got over 200 folks. Rock it out, man. It felt like the conversation was there because they needed more than 5 seconds of Vic Fangio. Exactly, right? I'm telling you, anybody that sees that, you know it. And then I want you to look at the end when the coach tells Mostert and Ingo, well, after that first round, I knew I had to go back to you guys. It's like, that just pissed me off. I'm so pissed. I'm selling my 2 tickets and parking pass for the Dallas game. Dude, relax, man. They're going to win.
How pissed are you? I'll give you $5 for it all. Are you really pissed?
Sean really wants to go. Lenny says, I don't know if I'll watch Hard Knocks this week after that heartbreak on Monday. You should watch it, dude. You should watch it, bro. It's your team. It's your favorite team, and there's some good moments. Let me tell you.
We're 9-4.
Yeah, man. It's 9-4. It's a really good year. The stuff with McDaniel and his family is fantastic. Ingold and his family, fantastic. Raheem Mostert and his family. You know, there's the exchange with some of the players is pretty cool. Hey, it sucks to lose, man. Okay, but it's not like we're dumping our team or anything like that. We've never done that with Cam Cameron. We didn't do it with Dave Wannstedt. We didn't do it with Joe Philbin or Adam Gase. So what are we doing here? We can complain, but, we stay loyal. Always. Let's see. Prevent defense from Fangio killed us. Yep, it did. Yeah. You're right. Maybe McDaniel gave Fangio some of his wacky weed to smoke at halftime. Maybe. Howdy-o. I saw it last night, and yes, it looked a little forced. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Anything they get Fangio on there is probably going to be forced.
Of course, dude. He doesn't want any part of that shit.
I wonder in the contract, does this say like you have to have every like major like offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach?
Don't know.
In those instances?
I don't know. That's interesting. I was shocked at the defensive collapse. They held Mahomes to 14 points in a game. They let Levis score 15 in 3 minutes. Yeah. No, the defense, they played well until those final 2 drives. It was poorly handled by Vic Fangio. I'm pretty sure of that. What McDaniel actually said was there was no doubt in my mind that I had an option to make, meaning he knew he was going to run. That's what I'm saying. That like, it's ridiculous. Brother, that's been for 2 years. You're supposed to be running the ball. You're supposed to run the damn ball. What happened? What did Chad say? Let me see. Per Pat McAfee's show, the Dolphins are having a players-only meeting.
Yes!
All right.
We're back.
Well, I know that somebody mentioned that the players met yesterday.
Yeah, it was actually, I believe it was McDaniel during his press conference. I believe he was asked if he met with the players. He said, no, the players they're doing their own meetings.
Yeah, they did their own meetings. So, I don't know. Whatever. Big O losing Connor to me is the biggest loss of the season. I don't know. That makes all the sense in the world. It's the center, man. Dude's been a monster blocker. The Dolphins, within the last 2 minutes, made life perfect for a rookie QB. No pressure, wide open Hopkins, and room to go out of bounds. I know. It was crazy. One big thing I haven't heard anyone talk about up until now, McDaniel has been good about holding on to the win. When we get a lead, that was a first choke job of his career. Well, it was a choke job because you lost to a lesser team, period. Any gem games, Dan Marino versus Jets besides fake Spike Marino, any memory? Plenty of them, dude. There's lots of them against Ken O'Brien and Richard Todd and stuff like that, going back and forth. Oh, my God. There's so many of those games. A lot of those Jets-Dolphins games came down to the end. A lot of them, dude. Pain in the ass because our defense, we didn't have one. You know? So we had Wesley Walker with one eye burning us left and right. Hey, do you think that was Williams' last game as a Dolphin? Oh, Connor, it all depends on what Eichenberg does the rest of the way. That's what I was talking about before, that the opportunity for Eichenberg right now is golden, bro. The guy you're replacing is not signed for a long-term deal, and you have no deal in place. And nobody really traded for you or anything like that leading up to the deadline, right? I don't even know if you were available or not. But now you've got an opportunity, so we'll see. Would be nice. Draymond Green. So yesterday he wallops Nurkic or whatever. Yusuf Nurkic or whatever. Nurkic. I know the last name is Nurkic. Yusuf, I think Nurkic, whatever it is. Anyway, let me ask you something. That is assault on the street. You get arrested for that. And I get it, it's sports. I saw Robert Parrish put 2 forearms into the face of Bill Laimbeer, although that was very well deserving. I kind of said, way to go, Robert Parrish, on that one. But in this case, why is Draymond Green still in the league? That's what I would say. That guy, it's dirty shot after dirty shot after dirty shot. This guy's hit so many guys in the private parts. I don't. He fought with a teammate last year. He knocked out a teammate last year. Poole. Draymond, there's something wrong with Draymond Green, and a suspension isn't enough. To me, this guy needs mental help, and what's better off is if you're not associated with Draymond Green ever again if you're an NBA team. I think you should kind of ban him already from the NBA. This is not a person. No one is safe around this guy. His teammates aren't safe around him. And I hear Jordan Poole is a horse's ass. I get all of that. But that's not your job to knock the crap out of him. I really don't understand how Draymond Green is just like running the table and doing whatever he wants. I don't get that one. I really don't. All right. Don't forget, folks, if your business wants to be a part of our platform, we have what we call a business line. That's right. And you can reach out to our business line at 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. And we can broadcast from anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, actually. So give us a ring. If your business wants to be a part of our platform, maybe you want to sponsor one of our segments, maybe you want to sponsor a weekly, monthly broadcast, maybe even a quarterly broadcast, we can do that. 786-754-4664. We've got over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 9 million views last year. So, or this year, that is, right? Right? In the last year or something like that? Yeah, in the last 365 days. So, plenty of traffic, millions and millions of downloads, well over 34 million downloads, audio downloads. So, we can expose your business. Please give us a ring, 786-754-4664. Let's take a break. Wait. Should I? No, let's not take a break. Let's not do that. Let's talk about Cam Newton. Let's do that. Okay? Because Cam Newton has gone viral now because all of a sudden now Cam Newton is breaking down a position that he can't play. Quarterback. I find it hilarious. A guy that can't hit the side of a barn is going to be talking about other quarterbacks. It's funny. And you know what I love? The laziness of, well, he won an MVP. Yeah, and so did Lamar Jackson. Big freaking deal. So, a running quarterback had a good year running the ball, and he was able to throw the ball that year and have some success. So, he ends up winning the MVP. So, Cam Newton, which, by the way, he also takes a shot at Tua. On the recent episode of 4th and 1, he talked about quarterbacks, right? And he says he called game managers such as Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jared Goff. Newton added Prescott's name to close out the list of players, not difference makers. He said Brock Purdy, Tua, Jared Goff, and really Dak Prescott, these are game managers. They are not difference makers. If they're really going to call a spade, a game manager is different from a game changer. See, the problem with Cam Newton is I get that he had the one good year, that it was amazing, but it wasn't like this was his normal routine. And he was not the difference maker all the time. In fact, he was the difference in why you lost because he made mistakes like interceptions, like turnovers, like bad decisions, like bad throws. And he made plenty of those. And he said Dak Prescott is a 4,000 yards from passing Cam Newton. He's in his year 8. He missed a year due to injury. So what's a game manager? Cam must needed something to talk about. So he says, this is what he says. Where is it? Damn it. Where is the damn quote? Here we go. To respected players like Purdy and Prescott, they aren't taxed with winning games for their respective teams. Teams just need game managers, QBs like them, to not lose the game and minimize mistakes on the field. See, the problem with Cam Newton on that is that every quarterback is there to manage the game. That's how you win. Every game is managed. The games that aren't managed, Cam Newton, since you're not very bright, okay, let me help you out, Cam, because it's clear you're not very bright because I've kind of watched your career and some of the decisions you've made off the field and some of the decisions on the field, like, hey, that fumble, dive. Oh, you didn't want to. Anyway, so since you don't understand winning because you were supposed to dive for that football, Cam, that's what winning's about. Do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? But since you don't understand football and the quarterback position, let a guy that's never played professional football explain to you the quarterback position since you don't understand it. Everyone manages. The very few times that a quarterback gets unleashed is at the end of a game because you got to go for it. You're down by 5. You're down by 4. You got to drive for a touchdown and you start slinging it. But rarely does anybody go into a game and just say, oh, here you go, carry us. Oh, I see. You're just used to running and throwing. So you think that you're the end-all, be-all. Well, actually not, because it's not something that's efficient. Because you do end up turning over the ball a lot, Cam. In fact, if I kind of went to the stats, Cam, right? I would probably, if I'm going to look at your touchdown to interception ratio, I wonder how it would read, Cam. You know, I wonder if it's really bad. Are you 4-1, 5-1 in your touchdown to turnover ratio? Let's check out 194 touchdowns and 123 interceptions. You can't even do 2 for 1. Is that an efficient quarterback? Huh? That sounds to me like worse than a game manager. Cam Newton. Because elite quarterbacks average between 66 and 70% completion percentage. You actually averaged 59.9 for your entire career. How about that? You did have a 65 one year, and it was in New England. 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's not efficient, Cam. Let's see, 21 and 17, 19 and 12, 24 and 13, 18 and 12, his 1 year, the MVP year, 35 and 10. He went to 3-1. Did he ever do that again? 19 and 14, 22 and 16, 24 and 13, 0 and 1, 8 and 10, 4 and 5. Interesting. 1 year he got lucky, got in a groove, and went 3-1 on his turnover to interception ratio. It's hilarious to hear a guy talk about quarterbacking when he is not a good quarterback himself. He was just a beautiful, big, athletic dude that can do some special things with his legs, but he wasn't special with his arm, ever. That's why he was never an elite quarterback, never really a franchise quarterback, and really, at best, a game manager. But, they'll mention that one MVP season. Got to mention that one MVP season. Because, that reflects his entire career. Come on, man. Cam Newton, dude, shut the hell up, brother. Shut the hell up. It's pretty much a joke. All right, let's get to a little birthdays today. On December 13th, Taylor Swift, the Swiftie, born on the 13th. Jamie Foxx, born on this date, 56 years old. By the way, Taylor Swift is 34. Okay. To give you guys the age. Nene Leakes, reality star, is 56. Amy Lee, she's got such a great voice. Evanescence, singer, she is 42. Let's see. Steve Buscemi, 66. Mr. Pink is 66. Why do I have to be Mr. Pink? Why can't he be Mr. Pink? Why can't I be Mr. Orange? You're Mr. Pink, okay? That's it. I said it. You're Mr. Pink. Let's see. You know where that's from? Dick Van Dyke. He is still with us. Amazing. 98 years old today. Good for him. Ted Nugent is 75 years old. Christopher Plummer, movie actor, born on this date in 29. We lost him in 2021. And that's it. It says Catherine Schwarzenegger, Instagram star. Is that like Catherine? Oh, yeah, no, I can tell it is a Schwarzenegger because she's got her mother's jawline and nose. So it's definitely Schwarzenegger's kid because she looks so much like Maria. So Catherine Schwarzenegger has to be, right? Oldest daughter of Arnold and Maria. In 2010, she became a publisher author when her book, Rock What You've Got, Secrets to Loving Your Inner and Outer Beauty from Someone Who's Been There and Back, was released. She has more than 1 million followers on Instagram. Okay? Catherine Schwarzenegger. So that is the famous birthdays today in entertainment. Now let's get to a little music history, right? That's what we like to do on a day like today, is talk about La Musica History on December 13th.
First of all, we start off in 1966. Jimi Hendrix made his TV debut on England's Ready, Steady, Go, and also recorded Foxy Lady with the Jimi Hendrix Experience. The fact that he had to go to England to get noticed first and here, it's ridiculous. In 85, but then again, they know music better than we do, obviously. In 85, Phil Collins made his U.S. TV acting debut on Miami Vice. He played a drug dealer. What else would you play on Miami Vice? The alligator? Okay. In 85, Phil Collins made his U.S. TV acting debut, like I said, on Miami Vice. In 93, Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash joined Billy Joel on stage in L.A. to play a solo on the tune Shameless. In 99, Slipknot DJ Number Zero jumped off a 35-foot high balcony during a gig in London. Remarkably, no one was injured. In 2003, the White Stripes' Jack White was involved in a brawl in Detroit with Jason Stolzheimer of the Von Blondies. The rocker allegedly spit in Jason's face and punched him repeatedly. And that's what happened today in Musica History. Yes. What do you got?
I don't want to bring the show down.
Oh, no, but why are you doing it?
All right. So Victor Bermudez just shared out a tweet.
Vic.
Yes, it was a GoFundMe.
He's a good dude, man.
He is. He said, some things are hard to comprehend.
Oh, God.
Tobin is one of the hardest workers in the business, if not the hardest working. Prayers for my friend and his family. It appears his wife has been diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know what. It doesn't go into all that, but I'm just letting know there's a GoFundMe for Tobin and his family. Right now it's Victor Bermudez. I'm going to share it from Victor's thing. I went through to read it to make sure everything. But there has been a GoFundMe, and it's for Tobin and his family for the wife having cancer.
Shit, dude. I hate this cancer shit, dude. It is so unfair to all of us. We've all lost people to cancer. I lost my uncle cancer. My best friend, I just lost him. It was this weekend was 2 years that we lost Bill, the 9th on Friday. I'm in Vegas and I lost Bill to cancer. And that is just
because he'd been in and out of work the last few times, but they'd been saying he was suspended, which I didn't think Tobin would do something to where he's suspended, but I'm sure that's probably what.
Tobin is an exceptional human being, dude. Tobin's a nice guy.
And just to say, you know how we get to see Tobin every day. His wife is a teacher, and the GoFundMe was actually started by one of the mothers of the students. So, again, the effect that she's having on that third grade class.
Life is just terrible. It hands you, it constantly kicks you in the ass, dude. Just constantly kicking you in the ass. Man, I just, man. Jesus Christ, dude. All right, there we go. Anyway, that's terrible, man. It's terrible. I just, man, that is prayers to the Tobin family. I hope she makes a full recovery, man. And it kind of hurts because Tobin is such an exceptional person, and it's just I hate hearing about cancer. It just I wish we would solve that issue. I wish we would find some kind of a cure, so no more families are affected by this, because we're all affected one way or another. And it's not over. We're going to hear about another one. We're going to hear about another one. We're going to hear about another one. And it's just, man, wow, that's rough.
That is rough. Chad says, my sister-in-law, 32, was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer a few months back. Been rough in my house because of it. My wife is going through it. Yeah, it's just, cancer affects us all. Every one of us. Every one of us has lost somebody. A loved one, a friend. It's just, unfortunately, a disease that grabs hold of all of us in one way or another. And it's just something that I wish we would be able to figure out. You know what? I tweeted it out also. It's on my Twitter page too, at Big O Show. If you get a chance, you should retweet it also, so it's spread it out, and you should also donate. Okay, because it's not easy, man. Not easy stuff. There's Ron. My aunt is battling leukemia right now. Prayers to all of you out there, man. That is just absolutely bad news. And I'm so sad to hear that with Tobin. He's such a good dude. And he's a big family guy, too, on top of all of that. Man. All right. We thank Matt Verderem. We thank Safed Dean. We thank Sean Stanley, as always. We thank Larry Schlossberg and of course, Mr. Zinn for always being very supportive of our platform, and we really appreciate it. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the Tobin family. If you get a chance, folks, make a donation, get on there and do something and help out, man. It's really, really important. You all be good out there. We will see you tomorrow afternoon. We'll be at Hialeah Park, all right? And we'll be firing away at 3 o'clock. On Friday, we will be at Top Gun Indoor Range. That's down in Kendall on Friday. So we'll talk more about that on Thursday. Y'all be good out there. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a good one.